King Hippo, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. This is Consider the Following. It's a podcast that I host, and you can't teach that. All other podcasts are obsolete because they are SAWFT. Soft. Bada boom. Realest guys in the room. How you doing? Being outplayed, can you recognize when you are, or the intricacies of the match escaping you? Number one complaint about Injustice is the random factor, and yet the same people are consistently winning and placing. What gives? Also, is there an MKX information drought, or are things proceeding as planned? And finally, we find out whether or not it's appropriate to mess with a magical chick. All this and more tonight. I'm King Hippo, and welcome to yet another edition of Consider the Following, the only podcast with as much racial diversity as there is comprehension adversity. As always, I'm joined by the man cooler than Whip and Whipper than cool. Cool Whip.
Guys.
Oh my god.
He's wasted.
That is. All right, moving on. The master of Yomi and all its associated enterprises, HomeLee.
How you doing, man?
How's that Unity?
It's going pretty good, except if I can get raped right now.
That's harsh.
Yeah, between that moan and what you just said, I can see we're in for a good night. The unmitigated lord of all things Diptera-related, Lord of the Fly. Here we go.
What is up? I am on my second drink. I've got turkey in my stomach and leftovers. I am good to go.
All right, he's enjoying Thanksgiving weekend. And last but certainly not least, the Kabbalah that doesn't play Kabbalah. Holla at GTA Saucy Jack. What's up?
Yo. What's up? I am on my first drink, so I'm a little behind Fly and way behind Cool Whip, but it doesn't matter. Let's record this shit and have a good time. All
right, I got some Fused Diet Iced Tea. We're ready to go.
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
Shut up. It's good.
Wow.
I like Fuse, but I don't know about the diet. I've never tried the diet, but it concerns me.
Yeah. All right, so for the first-time listeners out there, and if you are a first-time listener, thanks for joining, but here's a quick rundown of the show's format. Each week, panel tackles different topics related to Injustice, Mortal Kombat X, and the tournament scene, of course, TYM, and the NRS community in general. Points are going to be awarded to each panelist based on the quality of their answer or lack thereof. Points can be deducted for the most arbitrary reasons as the host, myself, sees fit, rendering them quite meaningless, which is exactly the point in the end. The two panelists with the most points battle it out in a winner-take-all one-question segment at the end of the podcast. The winner goes on to host the following week's episode. And as last week's winner, I am taking on hosting duties tonight, and I have become the first two-time host of Consider the Following. Who will be next? All right, let's jump on in, everybody. Okay, so first things first. As heavily as matchups are debated on Test Your Might, few actually discuss what is going on in the games that were played. We often only hear the results. Now, my question to the panel is: when is it obvious that a player is being outplayed heavily, or the matchup is really just that bad? How do you guys know, and how do you fix that situation? Let's start with Saucy Jack.
Well, there's actually something interesting that I think is counterintelligent to what people would think when they're looking at something. You sit down, play a matchup, you think you know what's going on, and you get bodied. The score is, 30-1, 20-0, just an absolute ass-kicking, and you're walking away going, God, this matchup... let me rephrase. The common response is to walk away going, good Lord, this matchup is terrible, I can't get games, this is a disaster, yada yada. In reality, I think those are the moments where it's obvious that you don't know the matchup. There is no matchup out there that is 20-1 bad, or 30-0 bad, or something like that. So when those situations come up, that's when it's clear that you actually probably have no idea what's going on. And when I get beat down that bad, that's when I know it's time to go back to the drawing board. That's when I know it's time to look into stuff, and it is not time to complain. When you lose 7-3, for an example, over an extended period of time, 6 months or something, then you can start thinking about how bad the matchup might be. But when you're getting the doors blown off you, I'm sorry, that means you actually don't know what's going on, and that's when it's time to look into everything.
That's a reasonable assumption, but don't you think at a certain point also, if a match really is that bad, wouldn't a player consistently lose that much? Maybe just worse because the matchup's that bad? I mean, is it necessarily always being outplayed that makes it like 20-9, say?
You have to be realistic about your opponent. If I sit down next to someone that I know, for whatever reason, is we'll just say an average player. They're not the greatest, they're not terrible, they're just an average player. And they destroy me, then I go, man, I don't know what's going on. If I sit down next to one of the greats, if Sonic Fox is destroying me, someone in NRS annals who is, a legend, then, there's a part where I have to think, God, I might be getting horrifically outplayed right here. But either way, no matter what it is, I am not watching Office Space. I'm not getting out my jump to conclusions board. I am figuring out what in God's name is going on with this matchup, because I don't care who you are. I don't care how bad you're skill gapping me. If I know what's going on, I'm not all thumbs over here. I have real hands that can play video games. I should not be losing 30-0. I can get bodied, but if it's that bad, then I feel like I don't know what in God's name is actually happening. But I agree with you. There is part of it where you have to gauge your opponent, and you just have to go, man, I'm getting skill gapped here.
All right. That's a pretty decent point. I was going to give 5 points, but that awful segue to Office Space is going to take a point off. So you're going to stand at 4. But not bad overall. I'd say, watch your segues, If we're gonna make jokes, let's not step over them like it's a carpet.
Has to be done sometimes.
All right. Well, let's go to Cool Whip. I know you're a little under the weather, so to speak. So
I've got some really bad news for you. Cool Whip has dropped from the call, and I was hoping you were going to get to him last.
Oh no!
Oh, wow.
I tried re-adding him, but he has not returned yet.
All right. Our Arabian friend has clearly. He hasn't sobered up, to be fair, so he's had a night of, I'm assuming, hookah.
That's racist. Racist.
That's
so,
awesome.
Let's go to HomeLee then.
Okay. Repeat the question one more time.
It's not very well for you already. Might be negative points. What is it obvious that a player is being outplayed very badly, or the matchup is really that bad? What is it obvious, and how do you know, and how do you fix that kind of situation?
I would say when it's obvious that you're just getting outplayed, I might want to say I'd go with Saucy Jax. It really depends on who you're playing, because I guess if you're playing with someone like you're not really, that you're just unknown, you don't really know them, and if you're getting blown out, you just might not know the matchup, like straight up. But if it's against someone that's very well known, he might just be raping you, and you are getting dominated. And like Saucy Jack said, you should never make assumptions, especially like what people like to do is like they play online a lot, and then when they do, they lose a match and they immediately assume this is 3-7. I can't do anything about this. I would say in those situations you should stop assuming online matches and for a way to like judging how you're doing,
All right. Now, would you say, though, is it possible that not only could the player be pretty good, but their character might be really handicapping you personally as well? Does it always have to be one or the other?
It could be a situation of both as well. Like, let's say, for example, a matchup would be like, Hawkgirl versus Sinestro. Like, if you're playing against Playing to Win, and then, that matchup's really horrendous for Hawkgirl, I hear. And when you're playing against a good player that's using that character, it's just going to shit on you even more.
Right. So you think it would actually be just worse, not necessarily indicative of either or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I give 3 points. That was a surprisingly coherent response, despite the unity happening at home.
Sorry.
So you're on a good track here. All right. Let's go to Lord of the Fly in on his second drink. What is his opinion here?
So first of all, I wanted to give Saucy Jack a shout out for using a reference that I actually got. I was excited about that for a second.
I'll have to remember that when you're the host. I'll get bonus points instead of negative points.
And then you took away his points, and I was like, "What the heck?" I don't understand.
It's a decent reference, but the way he put it in, it was bad.
Okay.
Sometimes you got to drill it in, man.
I mean, if you were gonna say like, "Hey, Batman jump twos me to conclusions," like that's but the way you put it in there, I don't know about that. So
yeah. Okay, I thought it was for some reason you had something against Office Space. I was about to deduct points from you, sir.
But don't worry, you can't deduct points from me. First of all, this is Nazi Germany, and I'm Hitler, sir.
Whoa!
Oh, hey.
All right. Well, before I dig myself in a hole, let me stick to the topic here. So I feel like there there's very drastic changes in the way that you play a matchup as you go through it. And so, like, there are times when I'll be getting bodied by, like, Pig or...
Me.
Oh my God.
You'd like to think so. But, like, if I'm playing Brant and we play, like, we're watching football on Sunday and he comes over, we're playing, and it's like he might win the first 10 games. And I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? I'll go to Scorpion, I'll go to all these different characters, and then I'll go back to Nightwing, and then all of a sudden I win, like, 6 in a row, and I'm like, all right, what changed? And I think the biggest difference is just picking up on patterns and understanding when a character likes to do certain things. And so I feel like a matchup number is not really the topic of discussion. It's the player versus the player that's the topic of discussion, right? Because, if I play another Zod or another, character, another player playing a different character, it's not going to be the same thing because their specific habits are not the same. He may be working on a specific frame trap from full screen that I fall for every time, then all of a sudden I stop falling for it and I get a couple counters, and that's 40%. It's a big difference. I don't know. It has more to do with the habits of the player than it does the matchup when you're getting bodied. So it's not an indicator of whether the matchup is bad or good. It's a matter of, man, I suck right now. What can I do differently?
So you don't think anyone? By the way, hearing your drink slosh around is hilarious. So you don't think that?
I'm waving it around like I'm in.
Yeah, I know. I said.
Yeah, like you're a big fucking deal. You hear the ice cubes rattling.
Like I talk with my hands, so like I have the drink in my hand, so I'm swirling it.
So like Oswald Cobblepot, real dandy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm recording, so it's much louder on my end. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. I like it. It puts character. It gives character. So you think that really when someone's getting beaten really bad, it's not something that they'll never come back from. It's something they maybe just need to pay a little more attention or kind of get their head in the game a little bit, take a breather.
Yeah, it's more the nuance in the game than it is a character matchup that's that terrible.
Okay.
Typically, because there are some matchups that are shitty. So, it is what it is.
Like, I mean, do you think Panichrist could possibly get his head together and win, 7 in a row against, say, GGA 16-bit?
Well, I'm not going to say that.
I mean, I'm just saying.
It's possible, absolutely. If you get your mind out of whatever else is going on, yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's try our Lebanese friend again. Cool Whip. What do you think?
Hi,
here?
guys.
I don't think he knows what the question is because he got dropped before the question came out.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't paying attention to the drop there. Okay, so the question was, when do you think it's more obvious that the player is being outplayed or they just don't know or the matchup really is that bad? How do you figure that out, and how would you fix that kind of situation?
Well, I actually think it's a lot easier to spot if you're playing than if you're watching two other people playing. I think first of all, if you're playing, then you probably already have a measure of understanding or a lack of understanding about the character you're playing against. So, it's kind of different because for me personally, if I'm not really familiar with a matchup, that's mainly what I'm trying to figure out rather than player habits, because you don't really know how to fight the character, which at least initially I would feel is more important than knowing how to fight the player on the most basic level. Obviously, this changes the higher the level of play. If I'm watching two other people playing, I think it's on a case-by-case basis. Already if you're familiar with the players playing, I'm obviously, I don't want to sound disrespectful or anything, but you mentioned 16-bit and Panichrist. I think it's pretty obvious that, one of them is a far better player than the other. So in that regard, you kind of expect a player to win anyway, but regardless of whether his opponent knows the matchup or not. But talking about two players that are on at least a similar or equal level, I think much of it depends on the kind of mistakes kind of a player getting bodied is doing. If you're, for example, if you're jumping from certain distance against a character you're not supposed to do that against, then I think this would show a lack of matchup knowledge rather than getting outplayed. If you still can't figure it out after a while, then that's on you. So at that point, it's kind of both. you don't know the matchup and you're getting outplayed because I mean you didn't make the adjustments fast enough. And that's a game. I mean, he obviously doesn't practice that much, and he's kind of figuring shit out on the spot. Truly amazing how he does it. Just learning a matchup in a best of 3 set, or pretty obvious when. Personally, I think a lot of people when they blame the matchup, it's kind of like, it's that they're probably not admitting their own shortcoming. But a lot of the time, if you understand the game and you're just a third party watching, it's really not that difficult to know when it is a player is just unfamiliar with the matchup, or whether he is familiar with the matchup and it's just a terrible matchup. I mean, and that would obviously also depend on player knowledge, knowing that a player works on a matchup extensively, yet they still get bodied in. I mean, that might be just a terrible matchup as it is. So basically, all this to say is it's really not as simple as just pinpointing it, whether it's matchup or getting outplayed. But I think at this point in the game, with certain characters, people should know how to fight against them by now, especially characters that are recurrent in tournaments. So if you're losing to those characters, then that's on you. I actually think if you lose to a very common character and you claim lack of matchup knowledge, even if that's true, that's still being outplayed, because part of being a good player is being ready and spending time in the lab and actually preparing for tournament play. So if you still don't know the matchup, that's a shortcoming as a player. It's not just about what you do in the game, but it's also about what you do leading up to the game.
Can I interrupt for a second? Because I
you're
feel
saying if 16-bit was to lose to a Bane player, it's just because he doesn't know the matchup?
That's kind of the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying, no, in that particular case, we know he's played that matchup 1,000 times. So it's not a matchup. It's not his problem. He might be getting outplayed in certain sets, but in general, we've kind of have enough data to know that, this is probably a bad matchup. I'm not saying there's nothing better he can or can't do, but he's played that 1,000 times. I mean, he's either such a shitty player that he can't make these adjustments after literally thousands of matches against Bane, or this is generally a bad matchup. But I mean, that's just one example. But there are other examples where he just, if it's say we're talking about a matchup that your character loses 4-6. At this point in the game, I mean, there are certain characters that you're supposed to know how to fight against. There is training mode. Even online, you can learn some shit. So I think it's almost become the whole, not knowing the matchup or it's a bad matchup. It's almost become so common that it kind of gives some people free passes, and it's kind of it's become a bit of an excuse to use. Fly, you wanted to actually say something?
Well, yeah, I feel like in a game like Injustice, you've got, in every situation where there's a setup, there's a 50-50 involved. And if your sparring partner or the way you practiced it is on one 50-50, and then all of a sudden you play a player who has a different setup where it goes the other way, and you're instinctively going to block one way, and it's a 50% setup, like most characters have, that could be the difference between a match, a win, or a loss. So in a first of 3 set, it's easy to lose a set to some small nuance in the game. You know the matchup, but if Bane decides to body press instead of Venom uppercut, you know what? That's a huge dent in your life right there. So that's not on necessarily Steve. That's a change in the player, and if he only had 30% life left, you know what? That's the match. So I don't know. The question was focused on matchup numbers, but I think it turned into more of how easy it is to lose a set when you feel like you know the matchup, then all of a sudden something changes.
No, I actually think that's not what the question was. The question was, when do you know the difference? When do you know that you're getting bodied because the person you're playing is that much better? Or when do you know you're getting bodied because the matchup is poor? Right. Well, and I want to circle back around to one thing that Hippo did ask in there, and I don't know if any of us addressed it, and I can't speak for the world. Everyone should have their own way of doing this. But the fixing it thing that Hippo talked about, I don't know what everyone else does, but in my phone, I have a massive notebook. I have a page for every single. Well, it started with Doomsday when I was playing him, but now it's Superman. I have a page for every single character and what they can do against my options. And when I'm playing a set, if something comes up that I've never seen before, I make note of that in my head and add it to my notes later, and then I go home and look at it in the lab, or if I'm with a training partner, we just look at it immediately. My point is, whenever those new things come up when you're in training, you just have to go ahead and get that shit down on notes somewhere so you can go back and look into it, because it's really, as far as I can tell, something like that is a very fool me once, shame on you sort of situation. Fool me twice, that's my bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's 50-50s. There's nothing you can do about that. There's, overhead, low, left, right, up, down, this, that, the other, grab or not grab. That's fine. That's guessing, and there's nothing you can do about that. But if, I don't know, when the game was new, okay, actually, this is a perfect example. When the game was new and Jeremiah hit me with down one Earthshaker week 1, I went, what in God's name is this move? And I asked Jeremiah, and he said it is an overhead to low very quickly. I wrote down in my notebook, learn how to block this Earthshaker move. And that was the first thing that I did as far as Doomsday was concerned. It's obviously, over the course of the life of the game, my notes are now just pages upon pages. But stuff like that, that's your fault. And a player's tendencies, that's what separates good tournament players from bad tournament players. You need to be able to pick on that stuff quickly, figure out exactly what your opponent's doing as soon as possible. And to Cool Whip's point, that is why Chris G is excellent and a lot of other people aren't, because he can pick up on those tendencies very quickly. However, a funny Chris G moment was when he was fighting 4x4 Lobo, I believe it was, and he didn't know that Godsmack wasn't unblockable, and he was getting destroyed by it because that never crossed his mind that a move could be unblockable. Something to think about. Even the great Chris G can run into those problems. But my point is, no matter what it ends up being, whether it ends up you got skill gapped or whether it ends up the matchup was really bad or the other way around, you're skill gapping someone or the matchup's super in your favor, in my opinion, none of that matters. What matters is what you learn at each time you play a set and what you take away from it, and you should not come to any conclusions as to what the situation is for months down the road, because who knows? I am still playing people, regular training partners, that don't have good options after they block breath from Superman. They've never looked into it. They are lazy, and they just let me forward 2-3 breath until the cows come home, and they never come up with an ulterior option. And that's the player's fault. Who knows? That matchup could be 7-3 Superman, or it could be 3-7. Who knows? But if you're literally letting me do one thing repeatedly and you have not come up with an answer, that is on my opponent. Okay. That's not on me, and that has nothing to do with the matchup.
So is a skill gap defined as somebody who knows the matchup and has an option for it, or somebody who's just one step ahead? Right? Like, I define a skill gap as, somebody who does forward 2-3 breath and then knows what my counter options are and then prepares for that ahead of time, and then they counter my counter. So it's just whoever one step ahead is who's going to win that match, or that setup specifically.
Right, but that doesn't even come into play until either you or the opponent have it all laid out. If I do, if I have blocked breath against someone, I have to know that if I do another forward 2, they can do these 3 things. And then for me to beat these 3 things, I do these other things, etc. And then the skill gap comes in with how have I or my opponent reacted to these situations over the course of a game, to who starts making the better reads. Right. Initially,
it comes down to reads. It comes down to reads and the mental ability. It comes down to who's smarter.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Fighting game smart, not book smart. They don't need to pass an IQ test.
Actually, otherwise there's some people who would have never won Evo. Anyway, Fly, I actually wanted to...
Dude, how could you say that about Daigo? What the fuck?
Yeah, that's really insensitive.
That's harsh.
I didn't specify, I didn't narrow it down to NRS games or anything, so I don't want anybody's chimneys be rustled. But I wanted to actually comment on Fly's example. The example you gave with Bane's body press, here's my question. Do you, as the opponent, know that this option exists, yet you're used to playing somebody who would usually do the other option, or you're not aware? If you're not aware, that's lack of matchup knowledge. And again, that could be your fault. But if you're aware and you're just used to, I don't know, say Max doing one thing, but then you play Biohazard and he does the other, but you're aware that that option exists. That's on you. That's your problem. You're used to playing somebody, and you're playing somebody else, and you're assuming they will play the same way. That's your shortcoming as a player. I think a lot of people kind of narrow down being outplayed to fundamentals. That's a magic word we hear thrown around. It's like when Sonic Fox was winning final round and Evo, and we had, I mean, I know he's mainly trolling, but still, and we had to Dave saying, that dude has no fundamentals or whatever, and look at Bad Girl, how she makes the game look, and even Filipino Man was saying some bullshit like that. I think that's ridiculous. It doesn't matter. It's such an elitist approach, the whole fundamental thing. I don't think that's the only thing that goes with being outplayed. I think preparation, knowing matchups, player knowledge. I mean, when Pig posted his notes, they were mainly not about characters. They were about player tendencies. That's
Right.
part of being prepared.
Well, that's my point. That's my entire point. It's about player tendencies more so than it is about the character matchup. Because you can practice one setup all day long in practice mode, but when you get into a tournament match against a player, it changes everything. Because playing to win may do the cross up, vortex with axe one way, and Hysteria may do it a different way. Right? And this is about understanding that player.
Yeah. And if you can't deal with it, then you're getting outplayed, I think. It's not that you don't know the matchup.
Right. I agree. We're saying the same thing.
All right.
Well, I think that's pretty good. I think y'all got a pretty good couple points in there. So far, I have everyone tied at 4. Y'all brought some pretty good points there. I was fairly
That's a cop
happy.
out. Come on. That's a cop out.
It's not. I think, HomeLee was at 3, but he had that zinger where you were like, when Pigs beat him and he goes, for me. That was enough to earn 1 point, so he just evened it up. So,
Hippo, I demand special care and concern given my situation. That's all I'm saying. Every answer.
There is no redhead clause in the Pacific.
There should be. There absolutely should be. You guys are inconsiderate.
There is not a Mary Jane Watson clause of 1945 written in here.
Yikes.
Dude, she was much hotter than at least than Kirsten Dunst's version of Mary Jane. My God.
Still not an excuse. Anyways, moving on.
The props fishing is real, though. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I am not fishing props. I'm demanding sympathy points.
Mr. Katie, I'm really close to taking away another point for this props fishing. I think you need to put your fishing.
Wait, what do you mean another? Did I get deducted for any reason other because I got dropped at the beginning or something?
No, yep. I'm just saying.
Oh, all right. Okay, I'll shut up.
Put your line, put your pole down. The fish will bite tomorrow. Okay.
Fair enough.
Time to go salmon fishing in the Yemen.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
All right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Anyways, so next question I have. Now, whenever Injustice is discussed, one of the first things lamented is the game's quote-unquote randomness. And whether that be from the heavy use of unseeable 50-50 options and interactables or the slow walk speed or whatever issue might be causing salt that day is something we hear a lot. However, despite this, tournament results have been pretty consistent throughout the game's life. Now, is this game random, or has the complaining been taken to a whole new level? What does the panel think? Let's start with HomeLee.
I definitely don't think it's random at this point. Even if there is any randomness, it's like 5% something just like not going, like a system being unpatched. That would be the only randomness I would see. But as far as the game's life has been, I think everyone has seen almost everything at this point. So there should be no randomness, honestly. Because if people want to say, like, oh, I got hit by that interactable, it's like, well, you kind of knew the interactable was there when the stage was picked, so you kind of got to compute that into your game plan. And as for, like, the slow walk speed or whatnot, and, constantly people just dashing and stuff, that's just a player tendency. That's your fault. You're screwing yourself over at that point. Right, honestly, I can't really think of anything that might randomly happen in this game anymore.
So you don't think someone who just kind of uses a character that's just going to rely on making you guess a lot, it's not that it's random, it's just that you just were not the better player that day?
Well, if they pick a character that does that, that's that character's game plan specifically to make you start guessing then.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
No, not really.
Eric, please speak more.
I'm sorry.
Bro, you're interrupting his Unity mission.
He's trying to help him get more points.
No,
but
I've
he's like,
I've
no.
actually paused the game.
I'm
But
proud of you. Thank you.
Look, like I know we all love Jacques Robespierre as much as anyone, but
Jesus.
I'm just saying, Marie Antoinette,
Let them be
King
Man, you're
King
such
Louis
a
C.K. VIII,
you're such a literature professor. What the heck?
a literature
Dude,
professorum.
He's our French
okay,
historian.
so then like, what would you guys count as like random in this game now? Since we've been so far into Injustice game, like what is considered random now?
People
Online.
always, it's the, yo, I got randomed out. So here's the thing.
That's
First
just a
of all-
salty excuse.
Yeah, first of all, I got randomed out is horseshit. That's just,
That's a
I'm salty, and there's no possible way I could have lost. I must have been randomed out, right? It's garbage. But here's the thing, and this is what really gets me about this. 50-50s in Injustice is a much more common theme in fighting games than people seem to realize. MK9, you could actually argue, was in the minority, being a game not based around a 50-50 style offense. However, I'm going to take that even one step further, and this is, I don't know if controversial is the right word, but it's something for some people to think about. When you knock down a Shoto in Street Fighter, Shotos being your ninja characters, your Kens, your Ryus, your guys with Wake Up Dragon Punch.
Ninjas?
Or you can. They got gis and stuff. They look like ninjas. Come
Thank
on.
you for
That is-
defining that.
You racist bastard.
I mean, can't help it. Look, okay, so for Fly, your Kens, your Ryus, the guys with, when their wake-up attack is a wake-up Dragon Punch or not, right? Even though a lot of people say Street Fighter is very slow because that's not a game where you're opened up based on 50-50 offense, every time you knock someone down, there is a 50-50. Will the opponent wake up or not? And then you have to do something based on that. Overhead low is not the only 50-50 in fighting games, and I don't understand why people cannot see that. Anytime anyone hits a button, it's a 50-50. When Ryu throws a fireball, it is a 50-50 if his opponent stood still or jumped at that moment in time, because if they jumped, you got blown up. It's just because it is not black and white, cut and dry, overhead low, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The I got randomed is horseshit, and that is an excuse for getting beat.
It's a total cop out.
Injustice, yeah.
It is.
I'm not on a fucking pedestal trying to tell you that Injustice is the greatest fighting game ever made of all time, and you will bow to NRS. That's not what I'm saying. But the offense in Injustice is more similar to games such as Tekken, which had 50-50 offense, etc. And MK9 is actually different than that. Anime games, hella 50-50 offense, all sorts of stuff like that. So just because it's not overhead low doesn't mean it's not a 50-50, and this is not exclusive to Injustice. I'm sorry MK9 was your first fighter. That's really cool that you're still in the scene, and I hope you guys stay forever because everyone is awesome. But the complaining about getting randomed by 50-50s might be the dumbest argument that there is, because that is actually fighting games 101,
Sounds
making
like-
your opponent guess.
Sounds like people complaining about the spamming, quote unquote spamming. We all
Yeah,
so
Fireball.
tongue in cheek. It's hilarious.
Those are casual players though.
Yeah, but this is the same kind of thing. It's like, oh, I got random now. It's like, okay, it's a nice way of saying you got outplayed. Just call it what it is.
A lot of people can't handle that. They can't deal with that factor. Now, the Interactables thing, I got randomed out. It's actually the exact same. When you start on Fortress and you've got the disco ball over your head and both of you can jump and get it, it is a 50-50. Will they jump or not? And go for it. I mean, that's the offense in this game. Like, it's not, if someone jumps up and gets it, it's not random. You had a counterplay. If you would have done an instant jump one with your character and they jump for that, you would have got a full combo. And Injustice is actually a momentum game. You would have knocked them down and could have possibly taken their entire life bar no matter what character you are. Sorry they made the right read and jumped up and grabbed the Interactable. It's ridiculous, man. That's
a little fired up about that one.
Maybe.
Pretty good. I will award 3 points there. Those were 3 difficult points. They're good callbacks to other games. I like it. I like it
I like it a lot.
Although saying Shotos are ninjas, that is not the preferred
No, but hold on. Hear me out.
Nomenclature. Martial artists, please.
Right, but hold on. But hear me out, right?
No.
I said Shotos, and then immediately in my head I went, oh my god, not everyone plays Street Fighter. They're not going to know who the Shotos are. As Fly pointed out, because he said thank you for clarifying. If you know nothing about Street Fighter, I mean, dude, the guys with gis and stuff doing karate moves, ninjas is not a bad explanation. I know it's not right, but when you're trying to get the whole world to see what you're talking about, they're kind of ninja-type characters.
Just for the record, I know what a Shoto is. I just wanted to make sure you clarified for everybody else.
For the folks at home.
For the folks at home who don't play Street Fighter.
Yeah. Also, this is dangerously close to minus a point, but I'll let it slide this time.
All right.
Dangerously close to a negative issue. Okay.
Then in that case, I'll just shut up and let that wear off for a second, so I don't kill myself.
All right. Let's Fly. You talk a little bit more. Is there anything else you want to say?
I mean, he kind of summed it up really well. It's a good tactic. When you get randomed out, it's an excuse. It's a crutch. It is a way to justify your own failure as a fighting game player. So, I concur.
That's not that it's random. It's just a lot of people get outplayed and they're not capable. Now, I've always wondered. There's another question I'll put to you guys, and we'll get to Cool Up in just a second. But question I had, just to throw it out there, is a lot of it, you think, residual kind of bitterness towards this person might not have been as good at Mortal Kombat as I was, and now they can get games?
I don't understand.
I think that's a big factor. I think what he's saying is, actually, I'll tell you, because I'm a perfect example. I was really bad at MK9. I would say, if I had to be fully honest and as straightforward and truthful as possible, I would say I was a low to mid-level MK9 player. I might go 3-2 at a tournament, and if that happens, I'm partying. I was not great. So, a player like 16-bit or a player like Dizzy would body me. I'd lose 20-2 constantly because I'm getting skill gapped horribly. Now, Injustice comes around, and I can beat them all the time. So I can see how there could be some anger from their point of, God, Saucy Jack couldn't do shite against me in MK9. And now in Injustice, it's like a 50-50. Me and him are, trading games back and forth. What the hell's going on? This game must be trash. I can see people thinking that. I'm not saying that they are, by the way. That was just an example. I can see people thinking that, and I could say that's probably likely for a lot of people, Hippo. It's maybe not everyone, but I would say that's likely that some people just can't get over that fact.
I actually think that's a very good question. I think that actually soured a lot of people over Injustice in the first few months. The people that were good in MK9 or very good in MK9 and failing to live up to their own standards in Injustice. We kind of actually touched on that in a different topic in one of the previous episodes. I can't remember which one, but I definitely agree with Hippo, especially early on. Not to say that the game didn't have a lot of problems early, it did, but people soured over the game because they weren't as good at the game as they were in MK9. Now, they blamed the game, sure, but I think part of why they blamed the game is also they were losing to guys they thought they had no business losing to. Now, whether that's true or not it's probably not true, by the way. The guys you were losing to were just better than you. It's a different thing when you're losing to Metropolis Rooftop early on. Sure, there are always exceptions. I'm not claiming otherwise, but I think, I'll admit, even a lot of us as just non-tournament players, while we're watching, a lot of us were wondering what the hell is going on. Like, I'll flat out give that example. Seriously, when I saw that Wonder Chef beat 16-bit at EVO, I was like, wait, what? That's strange. You know what I mean? It didn't make any sense because there was an established kind of status quo, I think, in MK9 after 3 years. We kind of knew who the top 8 placers were, and they were pretty consistent. But lo and behold, it's over a year and a half into Injustice's lifespan, and again, the top 8 players, the placers, are pretty consistent again. So I think a lot of that Hippo stemmed from early on in the game, where people were losing to guys they felt they shouldn't be losing to. But I mean, that's not true. I mean, just Injustice just brought new players, or old players just leveled up and became better at the game. It's not always about, yeah, we've had Perfect Legend and Rio and CD Jr. dominating in Mortal Kombat 9, but that doesn't mean it should be the case again in Injustice. So I think a lot of people blame that, because they're mainly when you don't get the result you want, whether you're the player or a quote-unquote fan, you kind of, a lot of the times out of saltiness or bitterness, you kind of look to blame other things, whether it's the game being random, whether it's, oh, I lost to this guy I shouldn't lose to. You kind of just look to other things. I would argue that Injustice is not random, by the way, at all, because there's a lot of bullshit, and I don't necessarily, when I say that, I don't mean glitches. I'd argue actually because MK9 had a lot more glitches, MK9 was a lot more random, by the way, in many ways. There were things that they're just whether Scorpion's EX Spear, for example, would go through your body or not. That's random. When Slips would do that against Dizzy and get meter drained, or for some God knows what reason the EX Spear just completely whiffs and he gets full combo punished instead of him getting a combo and a vortex, that's random. I'd argue Injustice in that regard is not random. 50-50s are not random. It's by definition, it's not random. It's 50-50. You have a 50% chance of guessing right and a 50% chance of not guessing right. Now, granted, a lot of the time it's based on nothing but pure guessing, but I wouldn't call that random, by the way. I'm sure many will debate and go like, no, that's a very definition of random. I would say not. I mean, if I block low and he does overhead, I'm screwed. That's not random. And this game doesn't work in a way where, it's free 50-50s all the time. I mean, when I was playing it early, and I'm still, Ken mentioned guys who are just, who had MK9 as their first fighter, and that applies to me. I played Catwoman for the first time, and I was like, wait, what? So every time she does jump into, which has hella range, I have a 50% chance of getting launched? Like, wait, what? And I played alongside, and it never occurred to me that that's not actually always the case, and it's not as simple as that. So it's not like, oh, just jump around and, you get your free 50-50. Flash can't just, or shouldn't, against a good player, shouldn't be able to just dash in and do his 50-50. I mean, yeah, it sucks when you're stuck in Batgirl's vortex. I'm not saying otherwise, but, I mean, so am I supposed to believe that anybody who picks up Batgirl just has a 50-50 chance of winning the game? Because that's what a lot of people, that's the narrative a lot of the time. I mean, and I think that's bullshit, to be honest. Again, the game does have a lot of gimmicks, I would say. You definitely, in a first to two set and a first to three set, you do have a chance of getting gimmick tagged, for sure. I just don't think that's random. You do your homework, you get familiar with said gimmicks, and then suddenly that's not random. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing much of the same players placing top 8s over and over. I think...
Cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question, though? I feel like there's
Sure.
more variant in top 8 placings in Injustice than there were in MK. For example, you talked about how players from MK that didn't really perform coming up and doing well. So, like, I'm going to talk about Smargasm and Glass Sword for a second, two Atlanta players that have a top 8. I don't have any top 8s, by the way. None. Zero. Zip. Nothing. And these two guys, I used to body them in Mortal Kombat, and they come up in Injustice, and they both have top 8 placings. They've come around, they've become great players, but in MK, they were decent. Well, Glass Sword wasn't decent. He was shite. He was terrible in Mortal Kombat.
All right. No need for the language. It's a family podcast.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'm glad I know that now.
In between the drinking and the, obviously rampant sexual activities of one Cool Whip, this is a family podcast, so please.
I don't know.
Throw me under the bus.
I feel like Injustice, though, has a little bit more variety in its top 8s, though, than MK ever did. Is that my own view, or is that a real thing? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I would actually, we probably should defer to Pig about that, because Pig, like every time something like that pops up, Pig would post like, "Oh, I'll be back with numbers." So we'll ask Pig to come back with numbers. I don't have any concrete data. So that's basically what I'm saying. I don't have numbers to back up what I'm saying. But even if what you're saying is indeed true, I would say that's not necessarily a reflection that the game is random. It just means,
I'm not saying it is. I'm just
It's
wondering.
they're-
I just think it's
I
interesting.
mean,
yeah, injustice.
I would think. I think there's part of it is because I think there are more viable characters than there were in MK9. I think that there's definitely more variety in terms of characters, not just the placers as far as player goes. So I think there's that. I think there's also the reason. I think matchups are even more important in this game because in MK9 you can, to an extent. Okay, if you played a top tier character in MK9, if you played Kung Lao, there's a lot of those low tier characters you probably don't even have to know the matchup against. You just do your thing, you jump around, you dive kick around, you teleport around, and he'll just dominate. Now I'm not saying that doesn't exist to an extent in Injustice. It does, but I don't. But if there are certain low tier characters, if you don't know how to fight like Hawk Girl or whatever, she's gonna ruin your day. We saw that happen.
She's not low
Somebody
tier, man.
won.
She's like mid to high tier. Come on.
We are not
I'm
arguing
just-
the tier of Hawk Girl.
Yeah, that's not the point at all. And I would argue that a mid tier
I
in
just
MK.
heard Shaira Hall go erp
Erp.
this discussion, so I think we're gonna have to hold off.
I would argue that if you're a mid-tier character in MK9, you probably didn't have much of a chance of winning a major. So if Hot Girl is mid or upper mid or whatever her tier is, it doesn't matter. I was just giving an example. The point is,
No,
yeah,
it matters. It matters. Damn it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I'm
Alright.
sorry.
All right, Hippo, can you deduct points, please? And not from me. It's worth pondering, I would say.
It's worth pondering.
You
It's
know my
worth-
points are good.
it's-
Come on. It's valid. It's all valid.
I'm gonna have to deduct 1 point.
What the fuck?
Damn.
There,
The
I love
shenanigans.
it.
Just because you play Deathstroke and you
Wait,
beat Hot
wait,
Girl
wait,
so
wait.
bad.
Wait! You didn't let me finish. I'm gonna deduct 1 point from Cool Whip
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
For
For
trying to-
lobbying.
for trying to appeal to the host sensibilities. I am unbiased, sir.
Fly, as a response to your question, I would actually argue it's probably closer to the same than you think, and we are victims of living in the now. If you went back to the first year of MK9, you would see names like Michelangelo all over the place, and you never saw him later on. You'd see names like Online Tony, who you never saw later on, etc. I'm sure there's much more. That's just off the top of my head. People stopped playing the game,
I love
things
those
like
two
that.
guys,
You get even
though.
Justice.
Those are
You
great.
again had a bunch of people you'd never seen before, a bunch of stuff like that. But once you've moved on, your 16 bits, your Theos, your Sonic Foxes, they're in every top 8 that they go to. You know what I mean? So I think it might just be Injustice is fresher in our memory. The first year of MK9, probably not that dissimilar to the first year of Injustice, where it seemed random who was in top 8, but in reality, the game just wasn't fleshed out yet, and people were, still trying to figure out what was going on. I actually don't think the top 8 finishing is that different. I bet you it's actually much more similar than you would think.
You might be right.
Actually, yeah,
I
I would
don't know.
agree with that. I mean, if you ignore the first 9 up to NEC, where people still don't have much of an idea what they're doing, and there were plenty of patches that they had to deal with. Take a look. Let's say starting final round 2014, and compare that to final round 2012. Look at the top 8 placers in both tournaments, and I'm pretty sure they were pretty recurring throughout the game's lifespan. I mean, who made top 8 at final round this year? You had Sonic Fox, 16-bit, Playing to Win. These are consistent. I mean, Playing to Win didn't go to a lot of majors, but when he did, he made top 8. Sonic Fox and Newbie, another consistent top 8 placer.
Harold.
You had Harold. Yeah, you had Harold, but he doesn't go to tournaments anymore.
He quit. That was
he
Smar's
quit.
one top 8, so that was the one sneaker.
All right, you can. I would argue you can compare that to Big D making top 8 at final round 2012.
No, I'm with you. I agree. Like I said, I think it's just because Injustice is more recent. I think if you went back and looked at MK9 top 8s, you'd see some names that it would be, what? That guy? What? You know what I mean? So I think it's just when you're learning the game, it's different, and plus, Injustice is what you remember. I mean, how many MK9 first-year tournaments can you rattle off the top of your head? Probably none, because it was 4 or 5
Theo's
years
not here, so we can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. And it was years ago, so it's just not as fresh in your memory. That's all.
Yeah, and I'd actually take that further. MK9, we have a lot more expensive data. Expensive data because it lasted longer. Now, if Injustice somehow lasts, say, if somehow it were to be at Evo for a third year, I would argue you would see a lot of the same faces because first of all, they'd be among the people who are still playing the game, the same way there are still some people playing MK9 in 2013 when a lot of people had stopped. Those are your top 8 placers who are pretty much have been placing top 8 since 2014. I think, for example, if you look at top 8s in MK9's history from let's say final round 2012 till Evo 2013, it's pretty much the same guys. And if Injustice somehow, has another year in its life, I would hope so. I would think you would see much of the same players that are placing top 8 now. And like the guys we've mentioned, probably in addition to guys like Honeybee, those guys, the GGA guys who leveled up in MK9. We're going to see much of the same in Injustice. I think if you compare that in parallel, they'd be pretty similar. Injustice hasn't been out as long as MK9 did. I mean, with all the complaints about the game, with a lot of people seemingly ready for MKX, I'd argue, Injustice isn't being allowed to live. Sorry to use that term. So we tend to look at Injustice as if, that's it, that's its lifespan, and it's almost dead now or whatever. And look, it had more variety, where it's just the fact of the matter is it hasn't been out there as long as MK9 yet. So, as a tournament, I mean, you know what I'm trying to say.
All right. My point has been disproven. I don't know. I just feel like there's been a variety of players that I haven't heard of before. And I guess being in both scenes, I'm a little biased where I feel like, maybe there's more new players now than there were for MK9, but I'm with it. I like it. Good point.
I'll get back to you with numbers.
Yeah, I want numbers, damn it.
Report your scores.
Report your scores. Team Gods.
Is Hippo here?
Yeah, Hippo, did we lose you?
No, I'm just listening silently. I was just to say score reporting could probably be a job at this point.
That's true.
Like, if you work for the NSA and you're code breaking, you might want to take score reporting because there's a lot of dishonesty out there.
That is true. The shenanigans and the score reporting are real.
There is no room for offbeat shenanigans in the realm of score reporting. I think we can all agree on that.
Speaking of which, I think HomeLee and Lord of the Flash should start score reporting because, we don't want HomeLee to get away with baseless claims about him bodying Fly. We want actual scores, damn it.
That's true.
I'll record that shit next time.
Yeah, you better record that shit.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Money match.
It sounds like a DR Gross call out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Money match.
No. HomeLee,
No. Top 8 don't matter. Money match, all that matters.
Yeah. No. Homestead layer, I will beat you.
Yeah, Homestead layer.
And Duke of the Bird, I will play you and I'll bitch. Oh, Gross. Gross, if you've never met Gross in person, he's one of the most entertaining individuals that has ever existed.
Gross is awesome.
Shout out to Darius Abad.
Yeah,
Right,
indeed.
Take a look at my sheet here. So,
Wait, what's his name?
Darius
Yeah.
Abad.
Darius.
Okay. All right.
Let's take a look at my score sheet here. So Cool Whip had point deducted. He had 2 that round. HomeLee had 2 that round. Fly had 4 that round, and Saucy had 3 that round. So Fly is actually currently in the lead with 8.
Too strong?
I was
Jack
taking
is
a
right
piss.
behind.
What'd you say? I got how many points?
Are you speaking live from the piss hole?
I was in the bathroom around the corner. What'd you say?
Okay, I'll say you now have 8 points. You're in the lead.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Did you say again or oh yeah?
I said fuck
I think
yeah.
you said fuck. I think you went America.
I said that was too southern to speak.
I'm from New York, damn it.
Yeah, I was about to say
right.
that sounded like a New Yorker accent to me.
Whatever.
I think the Brooklyn area. That's what they talk like, right?
No, not Brooklyn.
Not Brooklyn, the Bronx, then. Long Island, maybe.
Long Island.
Long Island Joe.
That's exactly how they talk in Long Island. All right. Well,
Exactly.
I wouldn't know. I'm not from there. So, and apparently neither are you. So,
I actually had him confused with Dark Natus for a second.
yeah, he does sound like Dark Native.
I'm gonna go fucking take a drive. I'll be right back.
We got we got Jimmy on the stream. I will leave the stream up for Jimmy, and it's the no BS on OBS. You know how it goes.
I mean, we got these Green Era combos. Who the fuck knew, huh?
He's not a paisano. What is that?
I mean, he kind of sounds like it.
He's not like, hey, I got my Mamma Mia's kazoo. Hey. Wait,
Also, you would just say paisan, not paisano. God.
I'm white. I'm allowed to say that.
No, it would just be,
I'm
he's
allowed
a paisan. He's a paisan.
It's God bless. All right, so
I'm sure someone needs a moment of silence right now. I'm not sure who, but a moment of silence for somebody.
I think I heard his drink swishing around, and that was his piss.
Yeah.
Which swizzle stick are you using? The straw or the other kind?
I would assume he actually fucking orders monogrammed swizzle sticks. It's just got LOTF on them. L0TF up and down them.
I like it. All right, so let's move on. Next topic. So this is, again, a weekly thing. We'll have to credit Cool Whip for the invention of this. It's called Bill or Thrill. A Bill or Thriller, where we decide if this thing that we're going to talk about was it a bill of goods, term originated to describe something that's not as good as it's hyped up to be, or a thrill, which is a word that happens to rhyme with bill and doesn't actually mean what it should in this context, but it's better than bill. So let's move on with that. So this week we're going to take a look at everyone's fishnet-wearing, wheelin'-dealin' son of a gun, Zatana. So Zatana was rumored early on to be very strong, and the community at large just, quote-unquote, just didn't know. However, after several disappointingly Zatana-less performances from the player who was hyped up in the first place, which was Deg, a player from Florida, we're left in a bit of flux here. We're left in a bit of the flux, the player from New York. Who is Zatana, as in sheep fact, a bill or thrill? Let's start with Cool Whip.
Wow, you start with the wrong person. I'll freely admit I don't have extensive knowledge playing against the character or playing as the character. And
Have you met the magical chick?
Actually, I am with Cool Whip. I touched Zatana once, and Pig yelled at me.
what, he wanted her for himself?
No, he was just like, "Why are you touching that character?"
Oh, never mind. Anyway, so no, I'm I'm with you. But and it doesn't help that she's not really frequently represented in tournaments. So you can't even assess her by watch, or at least I can't even assess her by watching. However, she does strike me, and this is a totally uninformed. I'm just shooting in the dark here, but she does strike me as pretty gimmicky. I think much of the hype around her initially was due to online, where I think people probably had a harder time dealing with her zoning and her shenanigans. I think once, a lot of these guys came out offline, it turned out she's probably not as good as initially perceived. I do think, much like a lot of characters in Injustice, if you don't have experience against her, she could be extremely annoying to fight against. The few times I fought against Zatana, it wasn't fun. I mean, it was kind of too annoying, really. But at the same time, I couldn't get too salty about it just because I didn't really know the matchup. So I couldn't really tell if it's just the character being good or what. I do think she's one of those characters where if you're not too familiar fighting against, yeah, she might wreck you and she would look really good. But against a lot of the stronger characters in the game, I frankly don't know whether much of what she. I mean, what's Zatana's main footsie tool even? I'm not really.
Standing 3.
Rings.
Well, I mean, so I don't know. I would definitely, from an uninformed perspective, I would go Bill, especially because she was hyped up so much, which is the very definition of Bill. So then I'd actually scratch that to definite Bill. Otherwise, we would probably be seeing more of her right now.
So what you're imagining is that in Congress right now, as they're debating, a magical piece of paper is pictured in the air. The seemingly magical quill has appeared to the same part and is now writing a bill of sale for Zatana, which will be
Absolutely.
dismissed in the house. So you'll say it's a bill of goods. Okay. All right.
Huge, steaming bill. Arguably one of, if not the biggest bills in Injustice.
This is heavy. This is heavy stuff here.
Everyone can hold their Zatana fear. Let me explain something to the panel, to the world at large. Let me be clear. Zoning and teleports. No, they are not bad tools. They are great tools. However, I have yet to play a game where the online is not the best, where zoning and teleports aren't a big mother effing problem. I hope in MKX that if the online is not perfect, that we will not have a repeat of MK9 and Injustice, where when we initially encounter an online zoning character with a teleport, that we don't freak the fuck out, man. I'm sorry, it is harder to get through zoning online. We should all know that by now. It is harder to do with teleports online. We should all know that by now. Unfortunately for Zatana, since only Dag was really traveling with her, all the hype came from the online world. And this is not a blow-up of, say, Mr. Molina, who's a very famous online Zatana player. Mr. Molina just did his job. He teleported and he threw rings, and it looked unbeatable because he's good at zoning.
No.
But
no.
hold on.
No.
You wait, because I'm sure you got bodied by Mr. Molina online, and you're going to say something silly.
He's on PlayStation. I don't play on PlayStation.
Whatever. You got bodied. Anyways, here's my point. If it wasn't by HomeLee, it was by Mr. Molina. Either way, this is all you need to know about Zatana, and this is the reality. And this is perfect that HomeLee and Cool Whip said they didn't know shit about Zatana. No one knows shit about Zatana except Dag, right? And Dag, as we've all, I should say the community agrees on because of his results at other tournaments with other characters, is a good player. A lot of people have played him in casuals tournaments, and they agree. Dag is a good player. No one knows anything about Zatana, and Dag, a good player, can't do anything with her. People don't know what is going on, and he can't win. All the conversations we've had today have been about how you get bodied when you don't know what is going on. She sucks so bad that a good player can't take a character that no one knows anything about and get top 8 at every tournament that he goes to. She is a massive bill. Dag is not a massive bill. I actually feel bad for Dag because he gets blown up, and it's not his fault. Well, it is kind of his fault because he hyped up Zatana, but it's not his fault as a player. She is a massive, steaming, elephant-dropping sized fucking bill, and it's that simple. The fact that Cool Whip and HomeLee know nothing about her is the perfect point. Dag can't do anything with a character that no one knows anything about. Okay. It's not Dag's fault. Zatana sucks.
Are you done?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I don't disagree with you, but what I will tell you is that her zoning is not what makes her good or viable at all. It's not her zoning. I mean, online, yes, but it's not her zoning that is part of her game. Her game is based on gimmicks. She is a low mid tier at best, and so if that puts her in the bill category, then so be it. But what makes her effective is the enormous amount of gimmicks that bitch has. It's stupid. She probably has more gimmicks than most any other character in the game.
And no one knows anything about him, and people still can't win with her. Bill.
Well,
huge Bill.
I agree with that. I agree with that part. But how many Zatana players are there? Like 2? Like
maybe there's a reason for that. I mean, people have tried her.
I mean,
PPJ play Zatana for a while?
Wasn't she the last DLC that came out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll actually blow that part up when it's my turn.
Was that HomeLee actually prepping us, letting us know he's going to take a turn this time?
It'll be a short blow up, but
when did Brian Fury join the call?
That's HomeLee right there. The evilest laugh ever.
When did you kill James Bond?
Oh no.
Dude, I love the new James Bond.
Actually, James Bond movies are the biggest bill ever. So
dude, I love Daniel Craig James Bond. Whoa, I love it.
Whoa, that's
This
Cool,
is a
man.
topic.
Oh, God.
After we're done, the free
Yeah,
format.
we
Dude,
might have
in
to
the
talk
after
about.
I
hours.
watched
In-
Quantum of Solace this morning. It was
In
awesome.
the post-show fist
Plus-
fight, we'll talk about it.
in the
And I'm
brawl,
ready to throw down.
in the brawl for all at the end, we will discuss this.
Oh my
now,
God.
hopefully, you want to say something regarding Zatana?
Oh yeah. Okay, so when Zatana was first announced, straight up, I hated it because I knew it was gonna turn into one of those people hyping her up, and then end up only one or maybe two people actually fully flesh the character out
How'd
and
you know
played her
that?
on a high level. Because it happened with Martian Manhunter too. Everyone's like, oh, I can't wait to use Martian. I can't wait. You know, turns out he's really good, but then there's only like 2 or 3 people doing decent with him. So when that character was announced, I was mad because I was voting for Red Hood. But, you know, pretty much, I'm sure Zatana was already planned in development way beforehand. But what makes her a build too is like a lot, like, you know, everyone says only Deg plays her, he only travels and represents her as a character in tournament. And so not a lot of people will know what to do against Zatana, and people that have tried to pick her up just gave up because I heard she's pretty hard to learn too. And it's probably because she's, you know, not a good character as well. So that doesn't help the fact. So even if I, like, you know, wanted to get Zatana experience, the only person I can go to on Xbox is Deg. But if he's not busy, then there's no way for me to prep against that character. And this game, you know, knowing the ins and outs of the characters really helps in a match. You know, I could go to tournament and I fight a random Zatana player. I might get out gimmicked out, and I'll just be like,
We
fuck,
just
I didn't know what
reported
the fuck I was
in.
doing.
They've got their hand. Need the
Which
teleporter.
is true.
A magic
That can be said about any character. Zatana being viable or not, Fly, it's not the question. The question was, is she a bill or not? And the amount of, you just don't know, just wait until you play Deg, you just don't know, just wait until you see her on the road. Actually, a very famous, NRS famous, and very talented person who plays a female character and zones constantly told me at final round, yo, real rap, when this game is done being fleshed out, Zatana, top 3. What?
Was it Saltface?
Huge. Yes. Huge.
I knew it. That's what he told me.
Bill, and when you go to TYM and you look back through the Zatana threads, everyone, you just don't know, you just don't know, you just don't know. You know what? Maybe we don't know. But what I do know is that the one poor Zatana player that there is can't win with her at tournament, even though nobody knows. That is damning.
Can it be that she sold?
Wait. How far?
Shut up. I've been trying to stop Jack for the past 30 seconds, so shut up. Anyways,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's like if you don't know you know, people telling us you just don't know, you just don't know. You know, Deg doesn't travel, then it doesn't really matter if I have to know or not. He's not going to be a threat then at that point because he's not there and no one else plays Zatana.
And when he's there and it's one of her rough matchups, you just switch to Aquaman anyway. I mean, that's pretty telling, actually. Oh yeah, well, everybody in Florida, please don't say that's true.
Wait, how has Deg done in tournament? I don't really remember all the tournament placings.
I think his best was 9th at the final round. But
No, he got second CEO.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, CEO. But I honestly, and this, I could be wrong, so this is not a statement. I'm just saying I cannot recall the last time he played all Zatana at a tournament, if he ever has just played Zatana. Now he might
It
have.
was probably final round.
No, final round he used Aquaman.
He did.
No, final round
Okay.
he went mostly Zatana. He did a little Aquaman, but
I mean,
okay.
I don't know what else to tell you. It's
The
not.
one guy that mains Zatana went to Aquaman for some matchups. That should say enough.
It actually might have been the.
come on.
No, but
Well, then
Well,
everybody
use
should
Aquaman
switch
to
to
try and beat me
Aquaman.
with Fly.
I think what he said, I mean, DMS was spamming it
Yeah,
at SoCal
spamming it.
Regionals. That we just don't comes around and the Zatana's doing no work. And it's mainly Aquaman.
I agree.
Zatana was used in pools, but like when the chips were down, came down Arthur Curry.
And again, none of this that I've said, and I don't think Hippo or anyone else do it. He attached himself to Zatana, and she just happens to not be that great. So regardless of what she actually is, the fact of the matter is just she's a huge bill. She's not what she was sold to be. What?
I think I said maybe he just likes being her hero.
Maybe on how Deg is as a player, and my personal opinion, the hell's going on with him as a person, I can't comment on it. I just feel bad that his legacy as a player or not, he'll never have a chance to show it because Zatana just sucks, so he never had.
I mean, it's funny because as much as I agree,
Did Fly
Cutting out a
just
little bit.
super technical?
He
What?
sounded like RoboCop.
what?
And I think he's killed everything on the record.
Yeah, what the
God.
hell happened?
The sound went from 720p to 144.
It sounds fine to me. Does it sound bad to you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounds bad to everyone. You might want to
It's a
timestamp
bit
this and
distorted.
take a quick listen to see what it sounds like, 'cause this is bad.
It sounds like that old. Sounds like that Long Island ear is treating you not very well there. I can hear it. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna take a look at the scorecard while we try to take care of any technical difficulties. Jack went on quite a rant there. I gave him 5 points. Cool Whip was pretty good despite not having a lot of knowledge. I gave him 3. I thought HomeLee brought up some actually pretty funny points regarding her and how everyone was going to main her at the beginning. Mainly because I also hated front page articles about DLC characters during Injustice's time. And you saw all these guys who came out of the woodwork to comment on the front page and then never came to forums. So HomeLee got 4 points there. And then Fly got 2 points. So Fly has 10, but Jack has taken the lead at 13. And then HomeLee has 10 as well. And Cool Whip has 9. Cool Whip is down, but he's not too far out. Jack has taken a solid lead to 3 points as we go into our next topic here. So our next topic might be controversial, so hold on to your hats. So 2 weeks ago, the Consider the Following episode 2 thread got taken over by a large back and forth, which eventually ended up getting moderated. But some of the last statements were left, and one of them, and I touched on it last week in my little 30-second spiel, ended with a statement that implied there was a concentrated effort to discredit the accomplishments of the East Coast and its players. Now let me ask the panel, do you think that there is or isn't a concentrated effort? And if so, will this continue into Mortal Kombat X? Let's start with Saucy Jack.
That sounds super devious, super super scandalous, super behind the scenes. That's a whole bunch of people pushing, saying, yo, man, just make sure no matter what you say that you blow up KDZ. Yo, you know what? No matter what, just blow up Tom Brady while you're at it. I don't care what you say. Just make sure, man. Just take that one shot. And, if all the little guys say it enough, then we'll take that big guy down, man. And I think that's silly. I actually think the East Coast, personally, should be happy because that means people are talking about them. Anytime people are talking about you, it's a good thing. That means you've done enough to be on people's radars. But the accusations that there is literally this TYM conglomerate that's just saying, yo, whatever you do, man, just make sure to blow up the East Coast while you're at it I think it's silly. When MKX rolls around, we already saw the post from CD Jr. in that thread. I believe, if I remember the quote directly, it was, y'all better hope that me and my brothers don't like this game, because if we do, ain't nobody going to have fun. I think that's great. I hope the East Coast is back in full swing playing MKX, and that would be awesome. And you're going to have the exact same thing that you always have. You're going to have supporters, you're going to have detractors, but it's not a concentrated effort where there's this master plan to blow up the East Coast. It's just natural rivalries. Some people like the East Coast, some people don't. Some people like the Midwest, some don't. Some like the West, some don't, so on and so forth. So the fact that people are saying that there is a group behind the scenes pushing for that, I think is poopy caca. I think that's ridiculous, but
That's
What?
So
Hold on.
Yeah.
yeah,
Poopy caca.
that is a
Dude.
big old dose of poopy caca. But I'm not going to deny that they're
What's the chupacabra or poopy caca?
easy on the chupacabra references, man. Do they have chupacabra in Lebanon? I'm just saying, I'm sure people do detract from the East Coast just like people detract from all coasts or from all regions, because that's what happens in rivalries. You always see someone's not as good as they think they are or as other people think they are, but there's no underground movement. That's hogwash.
Hogwash.
Wow.
Is hogwash mouthwash for hogs?
Do hogs? I mean, what are you gonna mouthwash out? They're just immediately gonna go bury their faces in slop again.
I'm just saying, hogs have hygiene. They care about their hygiene probably as much as anybody. They might need a little hogwash now and again. Food for thought.
When they're trying to impress the lady hogs, the sows, if you will.
Yeah, the sows. The sows are here.
Yeah, isn't Sal from the Arizona scene?
Yeah, Sal on blast.
No. I think sow is spelled different. It's S-O-W, I think.
Yeah, it is S-O-W. But I mean, pronunciation, man. Homophones.
Yes. So
Homophones.
Let's keep spamming homophone. Yeah.
Fine, how many drinks do you have in you?
Dude, I'm on 4 now.
Oh, okay.
It's getting bad. All right, let's go to...
And I'm sobering up, so it's pissing me off. I might actually go get one.
Dude, go get one, dude. You don't want to sober up just yet.
On the plus side, this will be Antichrist's favorite episode.
Sounds like it. Before he gets too too much saucy Jack in him, let's ask... Phrasing. Let's get Fly's opinion on this. What do you think here?
All right. What was the question again?
Oh, my God.
Oh, wait, the East Coast scene. I took note. I'm trying to timestamp this while I'm drinking, and it's tough.
I'm timestamping it for you. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
All right, good. So let's just be real. The East Coast scene is always going to have a presence. They're always going to be good. The hatred for the East Coast scene is because of their competitiveness. So, I mean, what was the question again?
Oh my God.
I like how Fly tried to fake his way through it, and then he was like, "No, wait, it ain't happening."
I tried. I don't know what's going on.
It's one for the books.
Yeah, I don't want to. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna go off topic for just 10 seconds. HomeLee, Fly, since you've both had issues figuring out what the questions are, just open up our PM on CYM where Hippo gave us the questions.
Oh,
so we would know.
In their defense, Hippo kind of gave us the questions like 2 seconds before the
right,
show.
But
Fly did say, "I'm not reading this."
Yeah, I don't want to read the questions because I think it's more fun to just wing
you have no idea how fun this is for the listener.
Which is fine,
Hearing all of us go.
but I'm sure the listeners would like you to pay attention to the questions.
All right.
This post-show fist fight's going to be a disaster.
I'm trying to read it right now.
Someone's going to be dead.
HomeLee.
Yeah, it might be HomeLee.
It might be me from liver failure because I actually did get another drink, which is kind of verging on alcoholic at 8 a.m. That's all I'm saying.
I say he almost said he got another jink, so he's definitely
Dude, I'm running on no sleep. You have to keep in mind I've been up all night. Can I go next?
You almost got another Velma Dinkley.
Oh my God.
I'll go next.
Okay.
I actually always found the coast talk.
Nobody answered my question though. Like I was.
What the fuck was your question? What was the question? Oh, that.
What is the question? Is my question.
Wait, what?
His question was, what was the question? Because he didn't actually know what the question was.
You guys just started to rap on me because I didn't remember the question, but nobody ever answered what the question was.
At this point,
Austin Powers too.
The word question has lost all meaning at this point.
It really has. Okay, so let me rephrase.
I'm sorry.
One more time in case you didn't hear it. Hulk Hogan reference. Is there, do you think, because last week the question, or 2 weeks ago, the question was asked in our thread, or not the question, but it was stated that implied there might have been a concentrated effort to discredit the accomplishments of the East Coast and its players since Injustice started. And I'm going to ask, do you think that there is or isn't a concentrated effort, and if so, will that continue into Mortal Kombat X?
No. Cool up your turn.
Okay.
Minus 5 points.
Much deserved. All right, I'll go. All right, I've actually, as I said, I've found it fascinating, the whole region talk, because, well, I understand America's a big country. I understand there are regions. I never got it, personally. Like, here's the thing. It's one thing to hype up your team. I know this is not exactly tackling the question, but I'll get there. Just give me time. That's what she said. Anyway, It's one thing to hype up your team. It's one thing to hype up your training partners, your brothers, but it's another hyping up somebody who you've never practiced with just because he lives in the same region, a region that happens to be maybe 10 times the size of my fucking country. That to me never made sense. Like, here's the thing: it's one thing if, let's say, the Wednesday night fights hype up each other, even though that never happens. It's one thing if the Florida guys hype up each other, the GTA guys, the Break guys, the CD brothers. But oh yeah, East Coast, Best Coast, because a guy called Sonic Fox who wins everything but never actually trains with anybody offline on the East Coast because he lives far. I mean, I guess pretty far. I don't know. But Sonic Fox is not there at the break training with KDZ and Arma and Jupiter and those guys. He's not at the CD Brothers house or wasn't in MK9. So, oh yeah, he happens to live in the same region. Yay. No, listen, I get it. I understand homerism to an extent. Yeah, you root for your region, your hometown, your whatever. I get it. But just I never understand the extent this goes and how passionate people feel about it. And again, I do admit that this is just me as an outsider. I'm pretty sure most Americans, for you don't understand where I'm coming from, but I'm actually just explaining my point of view. Now, that aside, East Coast, love, hate, whatever. Here's the thing.
The real rap?
Real rap. First of all, whenever a group is successful, they're going to get some hate. So I would take it, if I were on the East Coast, I would partially take it as a compliment because they were dominant in MK9. They did really, really well as Hippo's trying to squash a cockroach or something. I don't know what he's doing. What was that, Hippo?
And he's gone. Just continue.
Yeah, I think somebody squashed him.
I think a cockroach just ate Hippo.
Damn,
okay.
that'd be pretty scary.
I'm getting very disturbing visuals. Is my alter ego gone? Is that it? Am I going to mysteriously disappear from TYM now?
It's
under
proof
mysterious
that you and Hippo are
circumstances?
the same person.
How does that prove anything? I'm still talking.
I'm a little offended that you said a cockroach could eat me. That's denying not only my girth, but seriously selling a bill on a cockroach.
All right, we should come see the cockroaches here. Anyway,
I would never deny it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's irradiated cockroaches that are 9 feet tall and look like the ones from Family Guy, where it's like, "Hey man, I cut you."
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was picturing. Maybe this does prove that we're the same person.
Hey,
Yeah. Well, anyway, as I was saying, part of it, I would take it as a compliment. Nobody would give a shit and hate the East Coast if they didn't produce great players, if they didn't do well in MK9, if they didn't do well early on in Injustice. However, stop with the stupid victim card. Nobody likes it. In fact, we hate it. Let's be clear. TYM is an East Coast heavy website to begin with. So you guys are already in a position of power on the website. You guys did well early on in Injustice, but part of the hate you get is not just because you were good. Part of the hate you get is because you wouldn't stop yapping about it, even after you guys stopped doing anything. I mean, thank God for Jupiter, who was once described as, this random Martian Manhunter player. Rio's the best, we know that, right? Because who else on the East Coast is doing good? I'm sorry, yeah, Sonic Fox is, but I mean, if he counts, then he counts. But look at the break guys. Some of them, hey, by the way, I love Darth Arma, but I mean, towards him, but it's towards people who do. Funny how the people who do are not the ones who play the game. But
blow up if you talk.
What's that?
It's only a blow up if you talk. Is that what you're saying?
No. Darth Arma never does it, so it's not really fair to blow him up. That's what I'm saying.
Not because he plays.
Yeah, absolutely. I like his attitude. He's just love of Darth Arma, but you want to keep running your mouth about the East Coast right now, and I'm giving you Sonic Fox. Yeah, he lives on the East Coast. Sure, he doesn't train with any of the other guys.
We're in the
What?
South, bro. We're in the South, Mike.
Dirty.
It's easy.
Even Pig doesn't want you to count. as one of the East Coast
Fly,
guys.
ridiculous.
It's how I just feel about that. This is dangerously close to this is dangerously close to another -5 points.
Guys, he's closer to being a Middle Eastern player than he is to being an East Coast player.
Not a coastal state. Just wanted to know.
We are
Well,
on the
hold
coast.
on. There's the country.
Oh my
Oh
god!
my god.
Dude,
-18 points.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
I'm sure that was sarcastic.
I don't know. After the earlier blow up of Damascus, it's hard to tell sometimes.
That
And
was
at this
3
point-
episodes ago. Come on, Hippo.
you better
Just
start
like-
living. Just live your gimmick, man. Come on now.
I love it. I love it. It's okay.
Live it.
All right.
Okay.
I'm actually
Let-
going to add 2 points for that one. That was good.
You're gonna add
Okay.
2 points for that because you got my sarcastic joke. I appreciate that.
Take them back. Take those 2 points back.
Take
was
it.
conservative.
Go ahead. Take them back. I dare
Yeah,
you.
I'm lobbying again.
I
I'm
might
pushing my luck.
-2 for more lobbying.
Yeah, no, as I said, I'm pushing my luck. Let me finish that point, which I seem to have started half an hour ago. Anyway, you guys, the East Coast guys keep yapping about being the West Coast. They wouldn't stop about it. And again, it's mainly players who don't even play the game, which is even more irritating, and that's why they get some hate. And it doesn't help when not only do you play the victim card about, like, everybody's biased against the East Coast. Dude, you're on TYM. Everybody's biased towards the East Coast. We have guys actually advancing serious arguments that Rio is the best Injustice player. I mean, the dude is awesome at fighting games. He keeps making top 8s in Injustice, even though he doesn't practice it that seriously. But no, he's not close to being the best. Stop that now. It's like one of these things about the East Coast. Anytime the East Coast is brought up, or one of the top East Coast, beloved top East Coast players, it seems like everything has to be prefaced with, oh, by the way, you guys are awesome. You guys are the best. You guys produce the greatest players. And then you can go on to state your point. No. And it doesn't help when you get actually upset that another scene or another team, mind you, nobody's loving Chicago or the Midwest. It's a specific team is getting love. Like, oh, yeah, the GGA dick riding is out of control. Dude, you were here in the MK9 days when Storms would front page things about Rio being the greatest fighting game player in the world, or sorry, one of the top 5 fighting game players in the world. Claude Von Stroke made a post potentially proclaiming Sonic Fox as potentially becoming one of the best fighting game players in the world, period, or is he now one of the 5 fighting game players in the world? You blow everything out of proportion, of course you're going to get mocked for it. And I mean, I don't understand. Why can't it just suffice to say, the East Coast, yeah, they always produce great players. They were super dominant in MK9. They were dominant in the first 9 months of Injustice. And the Evo champion lives over there. Why isn't that enough? Any scene would settle for that, I think. Why do we have to go the extra mile? Stop it, you're irritating. And it doesn't help that it's coming on the heels of a huge blow up where one of the most well-known East Coast TOs has just banned 2 of the most popular players on the scene. I mean, yeah, that's the elephant in the room. We have to bring it up. Yeah, people are sour over the East Coast, by the way. And it's not fair because, it's the actions of 1 man, 3 men. I mean, I don't know how many they are, but it's mainly 1 man, let's be serious. But yeah, people are sour over that. I mean, Hippo, you brought it up last week. That's why a lot of people don't go to the East Coast now because, players are being banned. East Coast tournaments, yeah, they do feel kind of isolated now. But
I mean, we don't
that's
know
the way
yet,
it
though.
is.
We'll have to wait till NEC to see if people.
No, I'm sure a lot of
go or
people will
not
go
go.
to NEC. I'm sure a lot of people will go to NEC. I'm just sure GGA won't go. I'm sure, pig affiliates won't go. So, I mean, that's what, 15 people, give or take.
I mean,
and that's not.
I mean, let's wait and see. I mean, I just don't like talking about it before it happens to assume. I don't want to assume anything.
You seem like you're speaking from experience. Is there anything you're kind of alluding to here?
I mean, I'm not going, but
you don't want to risk another editing process that would take you 3 days to finish? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, nothing to do with the editing process. I just don't want to. I don't want to talk about a tournament where we're assuming people aren't going because of bans and because of bullshit that is.
Hold on. Let me explain. I said GGA isn't going. I don't think that's an assumption, unless Max and Jack and Dizzy want to go. But I doubt that, and I don't think it's an assumption to say Pig of the Hut won't be going either, or HomeLee.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of that's not to do with the band. I feel like it's a lot to do with life. You know, like let's not assume the worst here before.
Well, we have a GTA member on the podcast. Why don't you ask him?
The NEC champion will not be returning to defend his crown
There
this
you
year.
go.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's fine. Is it because of a ban, or is it because of work, or is it because of what is it because of? I'm just curious. Let's keep it honest and not unbiased.
Okay, I'll simplify the question. Let's if somehow you guys could all go, would you go? That's the question. Not with 16-bit band. That's the
It's
question.
super. I don't want to turn this podcast into discussing all of GGA's doings and things like that, but GGA will not be attending NEC due to things that happened in the past, and that is a shame that the NEC champion won't be able to return to defend his crown due to these incidents. And that is it. I don't want to talk about it more than that.
Well, I mean, if I had the time and I had the money, I would go. But that's just me.
Right.
I don't have the time. I don't have the money. But if I did, I would go.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. I guess I was mistaken to lump Pig affiliates with that. But all right, GJ guys are going.
I mean, Pig's my best friend, but
No. I'm not. I mean, that's up to you. You have every right to go or not go. I just, as I said, I falsely assumed.
that's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
You know what happens when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me.
Oh my god, that and
did you really go? Dude, HomeLee, save us. And those are the words
I think HomeLee is
gone.
gone. I don't think he's here anymore.
No, I'm still here. I turned my game off, actually. I've been listening.
Thank God.
Yeah.
You should never have to say on the podcast, guys, I'm paying attention now.
Yeah, that's not good. HomeLee, you've been pretty quiet. What do you think about this here?
Well, I entered the community when Injustice came out, so I guess like the old MK9 groups like Claude and Mike, the only impressions I have of them is just basically what happened recently, and unless that's how they were before. Yeah, so unless that was like how they were before, but like I would say if people are talking smack about them, then they kind of put themselves in that situation. But as for the whole, are people like in the background, saying, "Hey, blow this person up"? My check said that's retarded. If people are talking shit, it's because they want to. And personally, I think that's brings hype. I think it's good for have rivalries. And I definitely think it will continue in Mortal Kombat X. Because you're gonna bring in new players definitely, and this smack talk is just gonna grow from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. I'll keep going if you want me to.
So here's the thing, HomeLee. Here's the thing. At whatever point you feel like you're wrapping up your point, double it.
Okay.
Whenever you feel like I'm done, know that you are not done, my friend. You need to go further.
You need to keep pushing that extra mile. You can do it. Persevere. Or not.
All right.
I didn't know much of the East Coast players, so I don't really like to say this one.
I love you. You the best. You the real MVP.
All right.
Hippo, it is time for you to regulate.
Hippo is probably frustrated with me right now.
I'm trying to do the math.
Time.
Do you have your abacus?
I have an abacus here. It's exactly right.
You have an plus 10 points for an abacus.
So I got Saucy. He got 3 points during States player, so I'm gonna give him 5 points there.
Ooh.
And HomeLee, you got two for effort. So he's back from the gutters. He was at 5. He's now back up to 8.
I thought I had -5 at one point. What does that mean?
Oh my god, Jesus.
I'll take it.
Quick rundown. Saucy's got 15. Cool Up is 14.
I got 8.
Yeah, you got 8.
8's
So
my
you guys
lucky
still-
number. Do you guys know
Don't
that?
feel tied.
Oh yeah, that's
Well,
right.
and
Yeah,
hold
you
on
can go
though,
higher
give
because-
Fly time. He's eaten so many negatives.
Wait, -8.
Alright.
I'm getting so bad that as I add another drink to this, I might be.
Moving on here. So let me ask my next question. As we all refill our drinks, this is going to be one of very few current generation fighters, and the other ones might be Guilty Gear Third, and it's pretty easy to say. The potential is big, and the question I want to put forth to the panel is this. More contained as usual. Let's open it up to Fly first.
Good question, though.
Brown, both your noses are brown.
What?
What?
Not anymore. It's got that hippo fecal remnant all over
I
it.
feel like NRS has done a good job of gaining the interest of outside play to make money. It was an idea. No, let's just be real. Injustice helped get a healthy dose of new players, and MKX is going to bring in a whole new genre of players that. And it's going to continue that way because Injustice is broadening its horizons.
What the hell you just said?
Yeah, I think because you were talking about Injustice when I asked about Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm saying are not like MK NRS players. They are players from other games, and that's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good points. Good points. I would give you 4 points for that one because you're clearly working through quite a cloud of alcohol. So.
Can I borrow?
What are you offering him in barter? Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you an extra point next week. Hook me up
Let-
later.
For 5. Can I just get 5 points? Come on.
No, I will barter you in the face and not
Oh.
punch.
All right, that's
Batter.
fine.
No, I didn't say batter. I said barter.
Right.
Him for his comments on this one here.
I hope I'm wrong with what I'm about to say. While I agree with Fly, there will be some Injustice players who maybe never played. MK Crackerjack, white boy, never played MK, but he's going to play MKX after coming from Injustice, so that's cool. And it seems to be the way things go with all games right now. We've seen it in MK9, saw it in Injustice, saw it in KI, etc. Is the quote-unquote Capcom guys. Those guys that they come in, they're really strong fighting game players, they do really well for the first few months, and then they roll out like Luda. And I think that's going to happen again. I'm fairly positive that this is going to be, we're going to have the same disease in MKX.
Disease? That's heavy.
Yeah, you're right. That's actually harsh, and I'm going to correct myself. It's not a disease. It's good that they want to play. I wish they would stay. I think it would help all of us raise our game to have to constantly be playing against high-level players from other games, but the trend seems to be they come in early, they beat people up. In fairness to them, their main game may be Street Fighter or Marvel or something like that, so they spend most of their time there. And once their natural edge of just being better fighting game players wears out, and the rest of the scene catches up with matchup knowledge, etc., they just kind of disappear. And that sucks. I wish they would stay, but my guess is it's going to be the same. So you're going to add new players to MKX from Injustice, and that is good. Bravo to NRS and the community. But your other fighting game players, the quote-unquote Capcom players, it's going to be the same. They're going to come in, do their thing, and then they'll be gone after a few months.
Dang. So you think it'll be same old, same old?
Yeah, same old, except Chris G. He'll stay around because Chris G's awesome like that. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I wish they would stay. I think it would be great for everybody. But I just don't see it happening. And part of that is because these are not their main games. These are, secondary games. If you really bust your ass at Street Fighter, earlier is a very matchup heavy game. That's, you know what I mean? You just don't have the time to learn it. That's my prediction.
Yeah, but Injustice and MK are so different. I mean, you think it's...
I see in MK9, in Injustice, and in KI, we have the same Capcom guys. They come in, they do their work, and they peace out. And I'm not mad at them about it. I don't see any reason. I just have to assume that history will repeat itself because the trends show that that's what those players do.
I don't know. I mean, you've got a lot of different things going on in MK, and you don't ever have an Injustice or other doing the same thing when in MK9 you didn't really have a lot of Capcom players.
You're Justin Wong early playing Raiden and doing his work and stuff like that. But a lot of these guys, I'm not saying, real rap at combo break. You're just gonna have your guys that that'd be bad for us. You have your guys that play over here. Obviously, Chris G. Filipino Man is an fighter player, now mostly KI. It doesn't seem that the players that don't have MS going to repeat. I don't see any reason why it would be different. The different mechanics, I don't think those Capcom games, just like KI does and all the other games. So I don't see any reason why the different mechanics would. I mean, let's be real. It's possible some of them go, LOL, I'm a good player, so I'm just going to make some. Can't blame them. If you had a chance to, if you could pick up Street Fighter right now, and all right, that's fine. So I don't blame the guys for it. There's nothing that shows.
Capcom players aren't going to stick with MKX. They're not going to.
It's reasonable enough, okay.
I would like to add in, by the way, that my roommate just walked in and he was overhearing the conversation, and yes, I'm a Capcom guy. So, I mean, there's the proof, man.
Rest in peace, Saucy Jack's roommate.
What?
Whose favorite character is Striker?
My roommate. Shoutouts to SBO. Shoutouts to Vulcan 80s.
Any Big Boss Man fans?
Oh, dude.
Was there a player named Police Brutality?
I'm almost positive there was a guy in the Striker forums. I'm pretty sure his name was Police Brutality, and I think his avatar. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that. I'm going to have to look back and see. If I want a dense forest.
Does it exist? Who knows?
I can only imagine it's like the red forest.
Dude.
It was actually probably a pretty active forum. Vulcan Hades and SBO videos and stuff, so the Striker forums may have gotten a lot of love. It was just too bad that character was utterly useless.
What do you mean? DJ El Toro said Striker is secret broken.
Dude, the gunshots were just like Striker.
Dude, safe roll toss. I mean, his standing 4. What are you supposed to do about that?
And that uppercut, apparently... My favorite piece of misinformation on TYM ever is DJ El Toro saying Striker could twice uppercut Kung Lao during his EX teleport without actually being full combo punished.
Okay.
Yep.
Noted.
Shut up.
DJ El Toro, guys. He was a person.
Yeah, I mean...
Yo, when I have to play Perfect Legend in tournament, I'm counterpicking with Striker.
Yep.
Actual words probably spoken by DJ El Toro.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
I probably call him Carl because he calls people by their real names.
Oh my god, that was... I forgot about that. That's so unbearably just... if you're gonna be a suck up, man, at least don't do it with names, like first names. That's just the worst.
I mean, yeah, everybody calls him Carl, so that's fine. But Steve and Manny is a bit, no.
Oh man. Oh god. So Cool Whip, I didn't actually get a full response from you. What do you think about this Capcom player? Maybe not Capcom players necessarily, but do you think being one of the first, really, I think, fighters with a lot of potential to be big on a current generation console, do you think MKX might grab a new audience that it didn't have before?
I do think it will grab a new audience. I think that's part of the reason why NRS... Well, it's going to grab a new audience, that's for sure, both as far as casual and competitors. I think that's partially why Ed Boon, even back in the MK9 days, he said that if we were going to make a new Mortal Kombat game, it would probably be next gen. I think the fact that it's next gen or current gen, I guess now that's what we should call it. It's been a year already. Definitely is going to attract some newer people. It's going to be a bigger deal, slightly, nothing too significant. But as far as the tournament scene goes, yeah, probably. I'm sure new people will play it, like the same way we had in Injustice, like the same way we're probably going to have with every game. It's going to be hyped up for sure. A lot of people are going to be excited to try it. That's almost guaranteed. We're definitely going to see some players, turn some heads on the tournament scene that we've never heard of before. The same way that happened with Injustice. We're probably going to see some Injustice players that weren't that good at Injustice be good at MKX. However, as far as the Capcom guys go, they'll play. I mean, I'm sure that they like fighting games. They're elitist and they hate everything that isn't Capcom for the most part, but they do like fighting games, so I think they'll give it a try. We'll see them early in the tournament. However, unless the game somehow appeals to them to where it's sort of like Justin Wong, for example, really loved Killer Instinct. He loved KI, so he he played it. I don't know if he still does, but he played it semi-seriously. So we maybe, if we're I don't want to use the word lucky. But best case scenario, I guess. One of the Capcom guys would find the game like, oh, dude, this is so awesome, and it appeals to him and whatever. But ultimately, it's going to be the same thing because they're going to cry about patches. Capcom guys don't like frequent patches, and we know how NRS does things. That's just the way it is. There's no right or wrong here. That's the way it is. They're going to cry about patches. They're going to play for a while, then probably blow up the community or whatever, and then they'll just, after Evo or even before Evo, but after Evo tops, they'll be gone again. We'll see Christie will play, sure. If Reptile's in the game, we'll still be seeing Christie doing costume fatalities. Otherwise, he'll pick some other green character. But other than that, no, I actually don't see on the long haul. No, I don't think the Capcom guys are going to be much of a factor because they're just not going to play the game. That's on a competitive level, at least.
All right. That's good. Solid 3-point explanation there. What about you, HomeLee? Last one.
I hope you guys are ready for my quote-unquote long answer.
I am.
Go balls, dude.
Okay. I agree. I want to agree with the Capcom guys. They'll come in and then they'll leave. But I just want to confirm real quick. Jack, you said earlier, like the mechanics of the game usually doesn't affect a player's perspective, right?
I meant whether they will try it or not. Obviously, it can make them leave, but when you see a new mechanic, they're not going, oh my god, run button? Fuck all this, I'm not playing. You know what I mean? If someone likes fighters, my thought process is they'll play. At least try it out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, in that case, I agree with that. People try it out, but I probably won't. They probably, if it's not to their liking, they definitely won't stay. For example, like when Atlanta first started off, when Injustice first came out, there's Battle and Brew, and then Atlanta Combat Renos, and there's a lot of players there, and then shortly you just see the players just start diminishing one by one. And I went to a local one day, and everyone, like the old players were there. Big Boy, not to be confused with Big Boy on the West Coast, is Big Boy from Soul Calibur, and Clint the Beast and their crew was there. And then I was talking to them. I was like, so how come you guys don't play Injustice anymore? And they just all gave me this weird looking face and just laughed at me. And they're just like, this game is ass. This game is booty. And then, like Poke Chop was there. And they were just pretty much trashing down on the game. They just did not like it. They were just like, I don't like it. This game, I don't know about that, So, the potential there is big. It's going to be the first full, current gen new fighter that's going to have all the characters at release. What I really want to see is, I'm really hoping the Japanese will get into it, because they're, I only saw one video of Japanese player playing Injustice, and they were playing Hawk Girl and stuff. That was it. After that, you just never heard from them ever again. But I really would like them to get into it and see a more wider variety of players from other countries coming to play. I definitely do want to see European players come over too as well to play MKX.
You would want the Asian players to play.
Whoa.
It'll be a nice surprise to see. I remember a final round, fantastic. Every time we saw Infiltration, he was just like, Infiltration, please play Injustice. And Infiltration would just...
Yeah, he just shake his head. He dropped it out?
I think HomeLee's response was so lengthy for him that his battery died or something.
He ran out of breath.
He actually might have taken a breath.
Wow.
I do actually recall that from Final Round, though. It was funny. Infiltration would just give you, who farted face. No.
I'm back. See, this is why I'm not allowed to have long answers. My Skype will blow up.
That wasn't even a long answer, by the way. Or by your standards, it might have been.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty decently long answer, I'd say. All right, so HomeLee, give you 3 points for that one. That was pretty good. By standards, at least. I think one thing I was just going to say to point out is I think a lot of times it'll come down to there's a lack of big money, big prizes. I love it when it comes to playing these smaller games. I'm sure a lot of these guys enjoy playing fighting games, but it's also hard to deny when there's 1,000+ players probably playing the game, and any probably one big tournament, it's hard to deny the potential prize pool there. Whereas these games, it's always a little smaller.
Yeah, I mean, and that'll influence international players wanting to travel. It doesn't necessarily influence the American players. And by the way, Fly, in an extra response to what you asked me before, you also had Valle playing MK9 and Injustice. PR Balrog made top 8 at EVO, so the examples are out there, my friend.
It's true.
I don't think Fly even remembers what he asked you.
No, I don't think he does either.
No, I do. I'm still here. I'm here.
Okay.
So
What is that guitar in the background?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's sorry. I didn't know it was actually.
Oh, so it's a sitar then, not a guitar.
Wow.
Sitar.
Oh my god.
Dude,
I'm sorry.
Sitars are tight, man.
We got Samir Harrison over here.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
My Cool Whip.
Oh my god.
Cool. Dude, do you play the
Wait.
sitar?
No, I play the electric guitar.
Damn it. That's unfortunate.
As we see,
why
Fly's desperate for a sitar player in his life.
I mean,
Dude.
why is that unfortunate?
Because I used to watch Coward the Cowardly Dog. Courage the Cowardly Dog.
How hard
Dude, Courage the Cowardly Dog. You guys remember that shit?
Yeah, I do remember.
With the
Good
sitar
show.
and all that shit? Dude.
Right.
That was tight.
Yo, that
Oh, the-
shit, dude.
We now know that the exploits of a purple dog as I want to see a sitar player in real
The
life.
sitar was real on that show. I don't know if you know, but
The sitar is a real instrument, yes. We
Yeah, it is a
understand.
real instrument. You
no,
do
but it
know
was
that.
real on that show. It was for real.
I'm really hoping Hippo gets to the next question, so Fly
really-
will stop.
I really want to put a bullet hole in his tooth like Courage has one. Let's go ahead and move on. I think
Dude, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Come on.
I'll put a cowardly dog in you.
Oh,
All right. Here's the
Damn.
question. We all love ourselves some forum gimmicks. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. We all love their offbeat shenanigans as much as anyone. However, there's also a time when this might go a bit far to the point of probably being insanely annoying. So for the panel, when have foreign gimmicks gone way too far? And if so, when was that point? Let's start with Cool Whip.
Well, I mean, we're a site dedicated to Mortal Kombat, so I think we kind of do push the boundaries over what's acceptable and what isn't. So I don't apply the same standards to TYM the way I would apply to real life, even though some people believe we should. Regardless, so it would take a whole lot to offend me. Just real quick, that dude Charles Torres or whatever, who was banned recently, he was hilarious. He was a troll Latino account. Do you know what I'm talking about?
dude, I do, because
yeah.
in my Naptown Clutch thread, he called me handsome. He's a good man, obviously.
He's
It's a good man,
hilarious.
and he's blind.
Yeah, ouch.
Oh,
Damn.
well,
Ouch.
Yeah,
Shots
I'm sorry.
fired.
sorry, Ken. Ken is better looking than I am, so I have to hold that.
Oh, let's not
It's
say
just,
these things.
I'm just a jealous hippo.
I like
I
this
think
guy.
that was a John Lennon song.
Jealous Hippo?
No, I think that was a John Lennon song. I'm just a jealous hippo. Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. You guys remember the one?
No, I like Charles Torres. He's awesome.
Well, too bad he was banned. But regardless, it would take a lot to offend me. Even the most dedicated of gimmicks. I mean, Art Killer B wrote on my profile that I have a soothing voice, and he thinks I should do audiobooks, even if it's just me reading the Quran. He'd listen, which is hella racist.
Yeah, that's super racist.
It's extremely racist. But I mean,
Dude,
anyway,
I'd listen.
regardless.
What do you
Fly,
say?
Thank you.
Fly, I have bad news for you. If you got caught in the ATL listening to the Quran on audiobook, you might be in trouble.
Dude, it's an audiobook. Who's going to catch me? It's an audiobook. It's fine.
What does that even
People
mean?
wouldn't- that makes no sense. People could hear it.
Yeah, Fly, I think as your bartender, I'm cutting you off for the night.
Man, it's probably a good idea.
Anyway, so
Sorry, go ahead, Philip.
no. Yeah, it would take a lot to offend me. However, I do think when gimmicks become detrimental is when they actually affect gameplay. So, for example, when we have a Cabal invincibility glitch, and we have one of the top players in the scene, actually probably the top player in the scene, and a Cabal representative, actually, not okay. It was good that he showed the glitch, sure, but just lobbying for it. We all know he's trolling, but whatever. Lobbying for it to be permitted in tournament play when the community was actually trying to have a real debate about this, and shockingly, some people actually were seriously calling for this to be allowed. Having the top Cabal representative and a respected member in the community just trolling and saying, yeah, this should be allowed, and having people actually fall back on his opinion and use it as though it's proof of anything, that's detrimental to the scene. And I'm sorry, I really like M2 Dave, genuinely. But the whole, anti-zoning, the whole, rush down fools or whatever, lobbying for every every teleport character to be nerfed. Oh yeah, variable block stun, that bullshit, the Scorpion Scare. That, I think, is when TYM poster gimmicks can go too far and potentially actually have some negative effects. I'm not blaming him to Dave for, Scorpion's nerf or whatever, but take that variable block stun thread. I mean, that was a trolling thread just to push an agenda, and, after a while, we laugh it off because that's M2 Dave's shtick. But I think, that could have had some serious repercussions. We had people in that thread actually going LOL, NRS. If you read the first 2 pages worth of replies, nobody bothered actually thinking or testing this or whatever. Everybody was like, oh, LOL, NRS, this doesn't surprise me, whatever. And it took, I'm going to give credit. We actually blew them up on a previous podcast, but it took THTV and Wonderchef to regulate, and then Slips came in there and explained how things work, and people calmed down that thread, which got front-paged, by the way, got blocked and maybe even deleted. I don't know. So I think that's when things might go too far. But as far as harmless gimmicks like Chrome or whatever, who cares? It's just having fun. Even the Charles Torres dude, with a great eyesight for some manly handsomeness. Oh, Jack, you're not the host. Disregard what I just said.
Oh my god. That's got to be -7.
Regardless, so yeah, I think just, those gimmicks are fine for the most part.
I'm emo that you got to go before me because you have taken the words right out of my mouth. So I will keep it brief. Yeah, my concern is just when the gimmicks start revolving around the gameplay in a negative fashion. We tend to forget, and I do mean we, as in all of us that are regular contributors to Test Your Might, or any website for that matter, we tend to forget that it's only a small group of people that know who we are. There is a massive amount of just lurkers on 2IM. They just read. There's also new people to Test Your Might and other websites every single day. So if you're a first-time user on the website and you come into a thread and it says you're a Green Lantern player, let's say, and you're like, this game's cool. There's this tournament coming up. I guess I should start learning how to play this game. You Google, how do I play Green Lantern Injustice? Test Your Might is obviously coming up because it is the home of competitive NRS gaming. And you are going to get your face slapped with Fred Marvel. Wake Up Lift is a bad move. Green Lantern's mobility sucks. You guys just don't understand. This character is booty butt cheeks, blah, blah, blah. And the gimmick of people saying, 3-7 his mobility, or never use Wake Up Lift. That thing is terrible. It's punishable. And if you don't know what's going on, you just look at Fred Marvel and you see he's got a ton of posts on the website and he's all over the forums, your natural inclination is to believe this guy, he talks so much. He has to have at least some idea what he's talking about. I guess I'll never use Wake Up Lift. That's bad, and it's not that person's fault. You go somewhere where you're supposed to trust that the contributors know what in God's name they're talking about. and they don't, and it's detrimental to everyone. So when the gimmick extends into gameplay and can affect people, it's a problem. The Deathstroke, low guns, nerf, nonsense. I have a friend who is, he's not a top player or anything, but he's known in the community, and he fought with me for months because he didn't understand that M2 Dave was a shtick, that he was a caricature of himself, and that the low gunshots thing was just M2 Dave talking about low gunshots and the nerfs that Deathstroke got and just doing the M2 Dave thing. This was a player who's been on Test Your Might for a while, and even someone like that can be affected. So I can only assume if you are a newer player, or if you're new to the website and you have no idea what's going on, and you go to those Deathstroke forums, oh my god, you'll delete that character from your hard drive. Get out of here, he's so terrible. So that stuff is awful, and I actually think, as funny as it can be for the people that know, needs to be regulated. On the other hand, your trolls, your HomeLees, for example, even Art Killer B, as obnoxious as he is, he only does it in status updates, it's super whatever, I'm fine. My concern is when the website gets represented poorly. And I would think that would be Test Your Might's concern too, that you have people on your competitive website spouting off this nonsense that it's a problem. So for me, that's when it becomes an issue, and I think the gimmick goes way too far.
I see. Yeah, I mean, you got a point there. I think for new players, it can be probably pretty disconcerting if you've never seen what's going on here. I did want to ask HomeLee, as someone who likes to mess around on the forums, to say the least, what would you say is your opinion of when you might take your little game a bit too far, messing with people?
I guess when people start getting mad is when I'm taking it too far. But that's what I like. When people's gimmicks make people mad is the most enjoyable. So I'm pretty sure Art Killer B has probably pissed off a lot of people just by even through his small status updates. I laugh every time I see an update. And because when I first came, Art Killer B actually made me mad with his comments until I finally realized he was a troll.
He out-trolled the troll.
Yeah. Art Killer B might be
is Art
person that never existed.
Is Art Killer B like your trolling sensei? Did you learn from him?
Yeah, I probably did, to be honest.
Trolled her?
Art Killer B is awesome.
Trolling?
Art Killer B is awesome.
He talks to
some of his trolling does bring up good points, though.
But when does he ever bring up good points?
It's a good point. It makes people mad.
That is true. That is true troll speak right there.
Troll double speak.
Yeah. So according to HomeLee, he's never actually taking it too far because if people are getting mad, he's succeeding. Got it.
Exactly.
All right, so it's not too far when you get mad, but you make a good point if you can get mad. All right, good to know.
I'm sorry there wasn't much I could add, but Saucy Jack and Coolpit made a really good point. It's if it affects gameplay, that's when it is going too far. But if I'm making you mad, that's awesome.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
All right. Fly, any last comments?
Nope.
Dean Ambrose. Nope. Well, Fly, hold on.
I like that Fly has given up, actually.
Hold on, Fly. I actually have a question then about that for you, if you're coherent enough to respond. I did cut you off. I hope you listened.
Please try.
You are a known member in the Nightwing forums, which, for those who are listening to our show who are familiar with Test Your Might, has been one of the more, shall we say...
Shitty.
Troublesome.
Acrimonious forums out there. There's some issues.
All of the
from time
above.
to time. Yeah. What do you think when there is an unstated gimmick? You have a player who just lives the LOL Nightwing sucks when you're busting your ass trying to do work with this character. Do you think stuff like that is a problem?
No, I love it. It's awesome.
Why?
Because, man, I'm part of it. Like I love the trolling piece of this whole thing. I love trolling with Nightwing players because they tend to be too serious about Nightwing as a character. and I just love it. It's awesome.
They tend to be
HomeLee-
too serious.
Yeah, so HomeLee's responses have lengthened and yours have turned into nothing. Atlanta, is there only so much bandwidth in ATL for these Skype calls?
We need more Fly. I'm really enjoying his answers.
Dude, I think
Literally,
I'm more drunk than Kool-Aid right now.
Probably.
Right now I'm sobered up, but not when I initially was on the call. No, it was a lot of redhead. Anyway,
God,
Oh
the
my
problem
gosh.
chick.
Mary Jane
Yeah.
Watson.
Jack, let's be the drunk ones next time.
No, like
I mean,
I think that I'm the biggest troll in the Nightwing forums, and I do that for a reason because
I don't know, man. I think Forever Elite is probably the biggest troll, Mike.
No,
because
I
I've seen
think
him
he's-
comment on your wall, and he responded with a pretty angry answer.
I
In my
think-
opinion, he has succeeded.
I think Forever Elite is like 100% serious all the time, and that's a problem.
the gimmick isn't necessarily always trolling. See, but now you're getting to my point. Let's take Miles Wright is a good example of this, I believe.
No,
No,
God, that
hear me
guy's
out.
funny.
Hear me out.
God, that guy's funny.
I don't think Miles Wright is trolling at all when he's telling people Killer Frost sucks. You were all wrong. She was never top 10. You guys are dumb. I don't think he's being a troll, which
He's
would
not.
imply that he's saying something that is inherently probably not true to get under your skin. I think he just flat out believes that Killer Frost is a huge bill. So that is not the same in my book as trolling. So what about something like that? Like was what you're saying for Elite is he believes what he's saying.
I don't know, man, because Miles Wright will go into a forum that has nothing to do with Killer Frost, nothing about that, and he'll just bring up Killer Frost and downplay it.
while he might believe his statements, the shtick is trollish because it's so forced and he knows it's forced. It's not like, out of the blue he generally just feels the need to express this. He'll just randomly, to get people riled up, he'll drive this point home, even though he was right, and I'm sure he believes that he's right, and he should, he is right. Killer Frost was never top 10, at least post-patch. But, I mean, he definitely does it at this point to piss people off, which I think is trolling.
You guys are both jobbers. That question was for Fly, who hadn't responded much here, and I was trying to lead him into blowing me up. God, you
Then
two
shut us
suck.
up. You should have shut us up.
Fly needs to answer questions directed at him.
I'm trying not to talk over people. Come on.
I got his back. I got your back, Fly.
Yo, Lord of the Fly, Force of the People.
Yeah, the voice of the people.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get the simpy of the people. Sound like Scott Steiner.
I'm trying to let the people talk, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
hold on. Nothing ever sounds like Scott Steiner unless it's just genuine.
Nonsense. You sound like Big Papa.
Yeah.
Fly.
Dude, there's only 3 people that care about whatever you're talking about, and that's you 3.
Oh, thank. Hippo, what was the hot brunette that used to be Scott Steiner's valet? What's her name?
Oh, this is going
The
back to WCW.
fuck are you guys
Yeah,
talking
during,
about?
during his lead pipe days, when he was
when he had the pipe, yeah, and he had the
hold on.
Medeja.
Medeja, there you go.
I
My
just
God,
Googled it,
I fapped to her a lot when I was like 11.
Yeah,
Cool Whip's Confessions of Medeja. What?
yeah.
What the heck is happening?
She bodied Goldberg. She actually hit him with a pipe and lost him a match.
Dude, did you just say I fapped to her a lot?
He's
Uh-oh.
not.
He's fapping right now.
He's gone, man.
Cool Whip is now gone to fucking. Oh man, he's looking that shit up.
Images, his computers now. He might have to take it back.
If he's fapping while we're doing this podcast,
He might have to use his Office Max extended warranty for his keyboard. I mean, this is getting old.
Oh my goodness.
So let's go into our last question for the night before we get into anything else. I think all of us have some sort of pre-tournament ritual that helps us, really get into the mood before a match comes up. So I asked the panel, that's a good question for everybody. What is your pre-tournament ritual? Bowel movements, a lucky shirt? I mean, what is it? We all have our own.
Okay, so when I first met Fly, My pre-game ritual to body him was to take a
What the
dump in
heck
his
is
toilet.
going
Well,
Dude,
Wait,
I
I'm
went
sorry.
to-
Was
When
that,
have we
you
ever
say
played in
take a-
tournament? Like, other than
You
a
say
local.
take a dump in his toilet?
Yes. When
Oh
I
my
first
god,
got
that's
Fly-
brutal.
that
You
is.
destroyed his bathroom, and then you
Yeah.
destroyed him in Injustice?
You destroyed the sanctity of his home and then the sanctity of his character.
Dude,
that is-
You've only been to my house like twice, and the first time you came over, you were like, "Yo, can I use your bathroom?" And then you blew it
No.
up.
First, I shook your hand. I was like, "Nice to meet you." I looked you straight in the eye, and I was like, "Can I take a dump?"
Did you shake his hand and was it still moist from a pre-dump wash
Yeah.
or post-dump wash?
The
Say that-
moistness of HomeLee.
Oh.
Not
No,
anything
what,
I
what he
wanted to
said was,
discuss.
"Can I take a
You
dump
really
on the
suck.
same toilet where Glass Sword took a dump and sat down to pee?"
If I remember
I
correctly,
actually
I
could
remember
never
correctly.
use other people's bathrooms.
What?
It's not to take a dump. I would never take a dump outside of my
mean,
own bath. I'm
the-
a bit OCD like that. So
But the famous
that's 'cause-
Glass Sword piss toilet is a famous toilet.
That's true.
it's
it
pretty
is.
famous
It's,
after I took
it's about as famous as the one that Elvis died in. What are you talking about?
Oh,
But if
awesome.
I remember correctly, Fly, your bathroom downstairs didn't even have a fan, so your bathroom got
That
bodied.
is, oh my god.
HomeLee versus Fly's downstairs bathroom. Easy 10-0.
10-0 to Asian.
Normally
food.
I don't talk matchup numbers, but this one seems pretty straightforward.
hopefully you'd eaten Chinese.
It's 10-0 to Asian food.
I had a
Never
really
mind.
big crunch
Moving on.
that morning, and
Dude, it's 10-0 to H
Fly
Mart.
actually, Fly liked the restaurant I ate at too, so he was okay
It's
with the dump.
10-0 to H Mart. Dude, H Mart.
Okay,
That was my
so
bathroom.
that's your pre-tourney ritual, dumping
No.
at Fly's house.
And it has to be Fly's house, like
Yeah.
it can't be like
Yeah.
a stranger's house.
That is not a.
HomeLee goes to Evo and he's like, "Yo, I bought a second round trip back to ATL because I need to pinch this loaf at Mike's house for the
Yeah,
tournament."
no, it doesn't work that way. Come on.
I don't know, man. Everyone that's used that toilet has bodied you.
Oh my
No.
god.
Dude, what the fuck?
So Fly, it sounds like what you need is a lock and key for your toilet.
It sounds like I
Only
need to move out of my
certain
house. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, actually, you might need to move.
I'm pretty sure if Pig didn't
Just-
dump in that toilet, he would have won Evo.
Just forget the mortgage. And just sell it, and I'm sure someone will take it.
Dude, that's a low flow toilet too. I put that toilet in when I bought this house.
Oh, low flow.
Yeah.
Why didn't you decide to put in a fan first?
Props fishing for how environmentally conscious he is.
Dude, I'm so environmentally conscious. Dude, fuck you. There's a fan in that bathroom. What the fuck?
I really
The window is not a fan, Mike.
There is such a fan in that bathroom.
I really wish you were environmentally unconscious right now.
Okay, so
Well, he's getting there.
HomeLee
Alright.
destroying Fly's bathroom aside, I will get this rig back on the road. I am a super firm believer in the pre-tourney movement. I think that's a pretty big deal. You cannot. I've never had it come up because I always make sure to get my poop on beforehand. But I could not imagine if you're doing a combo and all of a sudden you get one of those creepers that's like, "Yo, real rep, we gotta go right now." I forgot to tell you, that would be an issue. So I do that before every tournament. Outside of that, I have a couple. I don't have a lot. I do have two, but they are maybe a little weird. One is I don't wear headphones while I'm playing, but I do listen to certain music before a tournament. Never while I'm there, but beforehand.
What
It's
music?
a weird. Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you, and it's a weird rotation. This is what's awesome about it.
All right, this is gonna be good.
Essentially, it is songs that I've accidentally heard before walking in somewhere, and then I played well. So because I'm superstitious, they've now become habit. One is the Straight Smells Like Teen Spirit rib, DDP's intro.
Yes.
Self high five. Yeah, I listened to that. I don't-
DDP.
That was before. I don't remember what tournament that was before. Man, I should remember all that stuff. Anyways, so there's that. Here in Your Bedroom by Goldfinger, for some reason, was on the radio before I sat down at a tournament, and I did really well. So that has now gone into the rotation. And then this one is probably, it's the weirdest, but no one's going to know, but it's funny because it's me. There's a song called Sunshine by Modest Yahoo, the Hasidic Jew rapper.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's awesome. And again, it just happened to be on my stereo beforehand at a tournament, and I did well. What's funny about the music thing is when I drive people to tournaments, they do well, and I don't. And I always have Modest Yahoo or this band Dispatch on in the car. So I've converted a bunch of my friends into listening to that shit before tournaments because they're also superstitious and they do well when they listen to that in the car with me. But for the most part, it is the pre-tourney dump, listen to one of those 3 songs, and that's about it. When I'm in the tournament, I tend to sing to myself. I don't listen to music because I want to hear what's going on. But sometimes when I'm trying to not hear what's going on around me, I do have a tendency to sing to myself a little bit to block out the noise. But yeah, my ritual's a little weird, but nothing too fancy. Nothing like I must poop in Fly's toilet, which is obviously on a whole other level.
Yeah, I'd say that's high level.
Yeah.
Get on my level, Jack. Get on it.
I will. Before this actually gets to the 2 drunkies at the end, while we still have some moments of sobriety, I will actually throw it back to the host before he throws it to them. Do you, Hippo, besides maybe playing a mean game of Hungry Hippos, do you have anything that you do before a tournament?
I have a couple things. Usually, I will always have breakfast early. I wake up early and always have breakfast because if I don't have to have an empty stomach, I won't play well. So get some food, no matter how bad it might be. And then I usually want to grab. I have this bracelet that my sister-in-law, who's from China, she still lives there. She sent me them. They were made of like a real redwood tree that was there or something. Really nice. Looks like a Kuma's necklace, but smaller. And I'll usually kind of hold on to those for a little bit. I'll wear them sometimes. Like, for example, if you were at SCR, I was wearing them, and I mean that's obviously the best tournament I've ever done. And clearly, I'd probably need to start doing that instead of just bringing them. But so there's definitely that. And then I will listen to a couple rotations of songs. Get ready to blow me up because it's an eclectic mix. Okay, so is everybody still here?
Nope.
I'm assuming Like a Virgin is the first one that you listen to.
There's a couple Madonna. That's one of them. So there's that. There is Like a Prayer. At that point, I'll probably start doing that Brock Lesnar, like, hop up and down kind of thing. And then I listen to Burnin' Up, which is another 80s classic from Madonna. And then, let's see what else comes in. And then it will be Living in America by James Brown.
Nice. All right.
That is the song that I've had the worst. I played Pig and Stream at SCR, and that's the worst I've ever played in a match ever. And that reminds me of that in a bad way. So I'm just like, okay, let's never do that again. James Brown in the middle, living in America.
You know, remember Rocky IV when
Yep.
Apollo Creed comes out to live in America, then he dies in the ring.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, it was fate telling me like this is not your day.
Yeah, this is a bad idea.
Yeah. You might make it on Losers, but for right now, this is not to happen. And then lastly, I listened to a little song by the great band Crowded House called Don't Dream It's Over, because I don't want to dream that it's going to be over as soon as the match starts. So hopefully I forget. That's my little mix, and then I'll go in and hopefully I'll do well. Usually I don't, but sometimes it helps.
Gotcha.
I don't actually do any. I do a post-tourney dump, which I cry in sometimes.
All right, you don't do a pre-tourney dump though?
No.
Dude, give it a whirl, man. It's good for the soul.
I'll give that toilet a whirl, yeah.
Heyo.
All right, let's turn it over to our inebriated members. Fly, why don't you go first?
Man. So I take a dump in my toilet before every tournament because that is my toilet, so I can do that. No, for real, I don't have a ritual. I just kind of, I don't know, every tournament's different for me. I end up getting into a vibe as I play other players at the tournament I go to. So, like, at final round, I started to get into the zone after playing a bunch of different players from different scenes. I didn't have a pre-tournament ritual. I just get up, get my coffee, do my thing, and then
Mike actually drinks.
I actually make sure I don't drink, because when I drink before a tournament match, I just play shitty.
I don't know, man. Final round, I saw you with a beer before your first match.
No, I had like 5 people buy me beers after I beat KDZ and Forever King. Like, I don't know. People were like, "Yo, let me buy you a beer. You did so good." I was like, "Oh, okay." Shit,
Is
I'll
that
take it.
subtle excuse making for why you didn't end up making top 8? Because you got drunk after those 2 matches?
No, I played like shit. That's not that's not on the beer. That's on me. But no, my pre-tournament ritual is not something that I would call a ritual. It's more of a, I just go into every match a little different. I guess I haven't been to enough tournaments to have a ritual.
Whip.
Well, in the prestigious tournaments that take place in the mean streets of Beirut, Damascus, Lebanon. All right, here's the thing. I've only been to 2 tournaments, and one of them was at my university. So my ritual there was to skip class. End up winning that free. What I usually do, honestly, prior to anything that requires competition or whatever, is A, take a shower. B, listen to Iron Maiden. And obviously, pre-shower I have to take a dump, because I'm actually I always freak out that, I might need to use the bathroom, and that's going to throw me off. And then take a shower, listen to Iron Maiden, and that's about it. Whether I'm playing at a concert, like playing sports, or a tournament. But honestly, to be honest, before tournaments, I'm not really superstitious. So the things I do is, Iron Maiden is just my favorite band, so that's what I'm usually listening to anyway. And taking a shower and a dump is kind of, regular activity. But I just do, you want to get them out of the way. Although I'm weird, I'll say, even if I'm going actually to play sports, I would take a shower beforehand and then a shower afterwards. I'm weird like that. But
That
that's
sounds
about
like
it.
a ritual to me.
Yeah, maybe, to be honest. But okay, fine, you can call it that.
I mean, a lot of people have them. Obviously, you Atlanta guys, you've got the based yellow shirt. Smargasm never leaves home without it. Max now has his I eat beans or a burrito before I play sort of thing going on. I'm a big fan of rituals. I don't even care as long as you're not like beating women or something. But you know what I mean? The ritual is what it is.
What?
I mean, if your ritual is I punch a woman beforehand, that'd be a problem.
That was kind of random, though.
Yeah, what that Ray Rice's ritual?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Whoa!
I just
How many women go to tournaments, though?
I think the ritual. I'm a big believer of, regardless of skill, talent, all that stuff, there is a big thing to be said for being mentally in the right place before a tournament, before any sort of competition, and that's why I'm a big fan of some sort of ritual. I wouldn't say that I've ever gone out of my way to develop one. It just happens, but when it does, I stick with it, because then it makes me personally feel better about whatever is in front of me. If I'm walking into a tournament, again, that stupid Goldfinger song or whatever, but listening to it 10 minutes before a tournament just, I don't know, makes me feel better mentally. And I'm sure that's why everyone that has a ritual does it. But I think they're good. I don't think that people should feel weird about having them. I think it's a good thing, personally, except maybe HomeLees.
Yeah,
That wasn't really my ritual, but
pretty fucked
It's
up.
too late.
that
You
ritual.
sold it.
So, I mean, it's now fact.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean,
No,
it's on
it's
the
not.
internet. Dude. You
It's
cannot
never been
lie
a
on the
fact. He has.
right.
It kind of sounds like it's always been a fact.
He's
Yeah.
taken a dump in my house one time,
Before KIT, I need to go back to your toilet.
dude.
Revisit.
Dude, you came over to my house for like casual games on a Sunday, and you were like, "Can I use your bathroom?" And then you come out, and you're like, "Dude, I just blew up your bathroom."
Yeah.
Like, it was so fucked up. You're like,
the reason why I did tell you is because
Sorry.
you didn't have a fan. I didn't want you going in there and choking to death.
so I should be.
I mean,
thanking
that sounds
you?
like he was being a good friend.
So I should be thanking you this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could have just, not taken a dump, or taken a dump at your place, like I do.
Or you could have.
Flylet's pretty far from me.
Dude, I'm not that far from you. I'm like 10 minutes, 20 minutes from you, tops.
I bet you won't drive to my house right now to play casuals.
It's.
I don't want Fly.
I don't think he can drive right now.
I cannot drive right now. It's not safe.
If Fly gets behind the wheel of a car, I'm calling the Atlanta PD.
Please do.
No, don't do that.
I'm not
You'll
driving.
put it in jail for a while.
It is unsafe. Dude, it is 2:30. I'm not driving at all.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, so pre-tournament rituals are always important, I think. Everyone has one, whether or not it's actually a ritual by name. I think they're important to establish. It's always a little bit of fun to have one, I think. So that about wraps it for the questions that I had. Let's take a look at the point tally and see what we got.
Did you just go all John Stewart, the paper Russell?
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a legal pad. I use a legal pad.
Dude, props. I also use legal pads. I don't understand how people use notebooks. Get me some yellow paper. God damn it.
Yeah. I mean, even though yellow paper looks like you should be wiping your nether regions with it. Okay, so first time ever in the history of Consider the Following, we have something odd here. So in the lead with 18 was Jack. He advances to the next round. What's really bizarre is there is a tie for second.
Ooh.
Between Cool Whip and HomeLee.
Oh my god, and it's HomeLee.
Oh
Wow,
god.
I think that's the bizarre occurrence.
Wait, I mean, I have 0 points right now? What the
You
fuck?
have 12. You didn't have 0, but you had 12.
Damn it.
So I'll say this: for the first time ever, I will use my powers, my mystical powers. I'm gonna make this a 3-way winners final.
Oh,
shit.
I specialize in 3 ways.
Well,
that was supposed to be. Hold on. That was supposed to be a wrestling reference, not a sexual reference. Just to be clear. Just to be clear about that.
Specialize in 3 ways with who? Mary Jane and Peter Parker?
Yeah.
No. Whoa. That's out of line, dude.
It's not.
Well, I'm mad offended.
I'm mad offended.
Are you not offended or mad offended?
I'm super offended. I do not share Mary Jane. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
Not yet, at least.
So you're like, you specialize in the 3-way dance, as they say.
Yeah, the 3-way dance, a triple threat. There you go.
Okay. All right. So here's our winners finals topic. I'll let you all go. If you could turn off Interactables in current Injustice Gods Among Us tournaments, which has come up recently for reasons I can't explain, would you? And why or why not? Let's start with Cool Whip.
I would not. I think, even though Interactables certainly change things, they affect matchups, they make stages matter, and certainly power characters, for the most part, have a big advantage. I think the game was designed with Interactables in mind, not just as far as, stage positioning, but as far as character balancing. I mean, part of the reason why a lot of characters are as good as they are is because of interactable control. I think, you look at characters like Martian, character like Zod, surely, the fact that they have interactable control matters a lot. And I think it's almost like an indirect nerf to a lot of characters, albeit they're top tier. I'm not saying otherwise, but I think the effect it would have would be huge. And I think at this point, it's not even worth it. We've been playing the game a long time now. Things are established. We know how it worked. I think without Interactables, we're talking about a different meta. And at this point, it would be fine to do it for one minor tournament, just as far as like experimenting, to do it at locals sometime. But other than that, no, I'm hugely against it. It's essentially a patch, in my opinion, and I don't think that should be allowed, to be honest. Even though the game does allow you to turn off Interactables, that's not the tournament standard, and I think it changes things considerably.
All right, solid points. Let's go to HomeLee.
I would not turn off Interactables either. Some people say, like what Cool was saying, Interactables, some characters, I won't say they're dependent on it, but it gives certain characters a more fighting chance against some of their tougher matchups. And it definitely, if you're watching a tournament without Interactables, you're mainly just watching it's really boring if you've watched it. I watched the recent tournament with that Rio Forever Elite and whatever, and literally I just saw Nightwing just throwing ground pound the whole game, and I was just like, crap, this is boring. There are people that prefer Interactables off, but that's just like a small niche viewers. You have to please the higher crowd of the higher people that's viewing on that little chart, and you're not going to want to try and appease the smaller amount of viewers that like, I don't want Interactables on. You're going to want to please the more crowd, and it makes the viewers happy at that point. And Interactables, it's a part of the game. You don't just take it out. That's like saying Killer Instinct. Let's take out counter breakers.
CD Junior actually wants that.
Another reason not to, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like the Interactables. I think it adds another layer of depth to the game. Makes player more aware where they are at the stage, and I think it's just better to have it on.
All right, and finally, Saucy Jack.
I would like to point out first and foremost that you just asked the Batman players if they would like to give up the dumpster. How dare you think that their response would be any different than the response that you got? It's embarrassing for both of them that they definitively said no, don't turn them off. There is no correct answer. The answer is yes and no. Where these two bat-chucking fools were actually correct is that it does appear, based on the fact that the game shipped with Interactables, that it was designed that way. However, unlike Cool Whip just glossing over this, the fact of the matter is there is an option there to turn them on or off. Majors, the standard at big tournaments has been Interactables on. They should remain on. We can all agree on that. But if Joe Schmo wants to throw a tournament, a local for his buddies, and he wants to turn them off, then by all means, knock yourself out. Have a good time. We'll see what happens. Matchups do change. Stages do change. So on and so forth. But you know what? There are certain matches where some shitter like Nightwing might be dead if he doesn't have that dumpster. And in other stages, he's boned because he can't jump up and grab an Interactable in staff stance. That's awesome, I think. I think it's cool that with Interactables being there, it changes the depth of what's going on. So, considering that we've had them on for a year and a half, if it was me and I was running a tournament, I would leave them on. But if someone wants to turn them off, I'm not mad. Go nuts, do what you want, turn them off, have a good old time. But we are way too far in the game, in my opinion, that if I was running a tournament, that I would turn them off. But these Batman players, they will say it's definitive, and there should never be a tournament that's ever run anywhere with tournaments on, or with Interactables off, and that's ridiculous. Let the people have their fun if they don't want to have them on.
All right, solid opinions all around. So I'm tallying the final votes. So here we go. In last place, we got Cool Whip with 3.
Damn.
As a Batman player, I just couldn't take it, man.
Do you know the other dude is a Batman player, right?
I'm just saying he sounded a little more genuine.
That's probably because he was.
All right. And if I say second, I'll reveal the winner. So I will say, today he is the bride. Saucy Jack has won with 5 points. He is a blushing sissy of a bride. HomeLee was close. He got second. That's quite the turnaround for him.
Sweet. Well done, HomeLee. I'm honestly not sure if I'm happier for you or for me in this performance.
He's actually happier for himself. Don't let him fool you.
Did blowing up Batman players put me over the top? Was that the
a little bit? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
If someone wasn't going to bring it up, I'm just glad someone.
Fuck both of you guys. My toilet is off limits.
All right. Well, that about sounds like we're at the end here. So Saucy Jack will be hosting next time. First time ever.
Oh, the tyranny. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Sounds like this is about as good as when King John took over. I'm pretty sure we're going to be forming our own Magna Carta pretty soon.
Oh my God, Magna Carta reference.
Yes.
Get ready for a final score of 3-1 to 0-0.
All right, before
You're gonna channel your inner Joffrey.
Yes, his inner Joffrey. His inner Joffrey Baratheon. His inner King Louis the 16th.
Man,
Oh, you're gonna get beheaded.
Yes,
I can't wait to give away spoilers for Game of Thrones next week.
Oh my god.
Don't do that. We already had that happen before.
What?
and it just-
No,
let's just-
please, dude. All right, when we get for the free for all, I have a story to tell about that.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's just say we're in the free for all. And right now, before you do that, I'm gonna blow. What is wrong with James Bond?
Wait.
we're
Where's
on
my
that.
victory speech before he
Oh,
goes
wait.
ape shit about James Bond?
Before we
Unbelievable.
James Bond, let's get Ken his victory speech. You have 30 seconds on the clock. Go.
I'm actually going to tell a story to everybody. Sit on Uncle Kenny's knee, and we will tell you about Black Friday in Montreal, Canada. I'm relaying a story from my boy Ekidus. I love him to death. I feel bad for him, but this story is awesome. Ekidus works for Target. He's given me permission to tell this story. As for those that don't know, I don't know how you couldn't know, but for international listeners maybe, Black Friday, huge sales. It's the day after Thanksgiving in America. Massive sales. Stores are open super early, 24 hours mostly. Someone came into Ekidus' Target and said, I'm here for the $150 HD TV. Ekidus said, I'm sorry, sir, we have sold out. And the guy got super pissed and was like, well, you know what? I came all the way out here. You better make me a deal on that $450 TV. He said, I cannot do that, sir. Black Friday specials only. The TV you wanted is out. I'm sorry. The guy and him had a Sting and Triple H stare down for a good 5 seconds, and the customer threw a punch at Ekidus for not having the TV. Montreal Target security had to jump on the guy, wrestle him up, probably spoke mean to him in French, talked down to him, and then smoked penciled-in cigarettes. But either way, Black Friday story for everyone. If you go to Montreal, be careful, because in Target, they throw bows. That's my story.
That's awesome.
Canada's full of nice people.
Yeah. Is Ekidus okay?
He is fine. The punch, actually, the response when he
Did
was
he
telling the
captivate
story, he told me the guy threw the punch. I evaded it. I could have whiff punished, but security jumped in.
Oh, I wanted to imagine him doing the Hulk Hogan block, and then putting the left hand on the forehead while he gave him the big right hand.
No, he should have looked back at him and goes like, "No, you," and then he would Hulk up.
Yeah,
That was true.
he has to do the U. Look to the left, look to the right, and then you.
Either way, the rumors of Canada being full of nice people, huge bill. Apparently, when your first sale TV's not there, you throw bows
So Bill
and
or
try
Thrill,
and knock
Canada.
out the salesperson.
Canada's Bill or Thrill next week.
What?
Canada, Bill or Thrill next week.
Yeah, apparently, nice people in Canada. Bill or Thrill.
Actually, speaking of Bill or Thrill, I wanted to mention that the poll winners were actually, and I think we talked about this a little before. The poll winners were actually to talk about Arrow, Gotham, and The Flash. And the second runner-up was actually Killer Instinct Season 2. The only reason I didn't include them this week was because I felt like, I don't know if all of us had seen it. I hadn't talked with anyone, so I don't know if we'd all seen it. And Killer Instinct is also another one that's kind of like a specialization. Like, I've been playing it, but I don't know whoever else has. So I decided to hold off on having those. However, next week I can promise, and I hope Ken will include it, Bill or Thrill of Arrow, Gotham, and Flash.
So I see you are already trying to dictate policy.
Yeah.
You're starting at -1 next week.
All right. I love it.
Damn.
You like the comeback story?
Yeah, I love a challenge.
Ooh, very nice.
Ooh.
Well, we have 20 minutes or so to freestyle, so let's all blow up Cool Whip. Cool Whip, why is James Bond a Bill?
Because I've never seen an actual James Bond movie I like, and it's so repetitive. Hold on. The thing is, with time, they've gotten
Did you see
increasing.
Die Another Day? That's not very good.
What's that?
I said, have you only seen Die Another Day? And if so, I can understand.
No. Well, I grew up watching the Pierce Brosnan movies, and then my dad, being old school and shit, he kept harping about, like, he actually didn't even keep harping about Sean Connery, who the guy who was his favorite Bond is Roger Moore for some reason, and he made me see a couple of his movies, and they stung. And then the Sean Connery movies, I don't think they've aged well, so I'm that might be a totally fair assessment. However, when moving to the Pierce Brosnan movies and beyond, I actually like GoldenEye. That's all I'll say. everything after that just didn't do it for me. Hated it. I mean, I don't. It's with time they've even gotten. It's gotten to the point where he's like Batman almost. I mean, might as well have a utility belt and a Batmobile because that's kind of what it is. They're repetitive. I'm not a fan of action movies in general, anyway. But I don't know the Bond, the whole Bond character, and never really appealed to me. And yeah, nothing else to say. I mean, there's a Bond girl. He's on some sort of mission. He does some shit. And no, I'm sorry. Give me Jason Bourne.
As a reader of both, I will take the Bourne books. But I mean, the Bourne movie is Bond, man. Like, that's where we get all of these the debonair suave agent, the super cool gadgets, the badass super spy. I mean, yeah, I get it. A little trite at this point, but this is like definitive spy stuff, man. This is it's awesome.
I mean, end of
I
story.
agree.
It's
Also, the blow up of the Connery in 13, all the effects and crap aren't going to be the same. That's from any movie from that era, but I would disagree that they haven't aged James Bond movie. I'm not trying to think if there's a Bond movie that if it was on, that I would be like, God, no.
Thing to come from James Bond. So, gets a pass for that. I will say, I think most of...
That's about it.
I mean, unless you want to really sell me on, the world is not enough.
Anything there.
I do think that the Daniel Craigs are the best of the bunch.
By far.
Solace was okay. I kind of like dozed off halfway through.
Yeah, Quantum of Solace isn't very good, but Casino...
The best of the Daniel Craig, James Bond. And
yeah, I heard Skyfall's.
It's not a bill. No, it's not a bill. It's good. It's not the... I
even like typical James Bond movies, but I just didn't like. Hold on, Mike. I'll tell you what. In the poll, when you just ask the community.
I'm sure you have supporters. No one is 100% in any direction. However, you want hipster supporters because you know you're going to get them. People that just want to be different and say, James, thick black glasses? All right. That's
fine. I absolutely have the thick black glasses, by the way.
Hipster. Some of the people that support you, they're going to be people that legitimately don't like James Bond, and I'm sure different. Do you want that on your side?
Sure.
Disgusting. Sell out. Oh my God, the politics is real from this guy.
Dude, I'm from Lebanon. Acquire it.
I mean, I'm from Chicago, which is known for mob. HomeLee, are you still awake?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm sure the fans. It's the other way around. You started out like total poop, but great job at the end of the show, buddy.
Man, I got last place. This is bullshit.
Well,
you got last place.
Just not drinking so much.
I mean, like 1 or 2 less drinks. That's all I need.
Mike, keep it at a dull roar.
It doesn't help we're now recording on weekends. I mean, I'm not gonna be sober.
Monday night recording, but I mean.
What were you sipping on today, there, Mikey?
Tonight, I have to go
It's that bad of a night. He's already killed the brain cells. Just remember what he had.
Yeah, he's bodied.
Fully bodied.
Yeah.
Oh, what a fun.
He's more bodied than Sean.
Cool Whip, what were you drinking tonight?
I'm all about the vodka. So it was vodka 7-Up. I started losing track, and the redhead kept she kept giving me shit, and I kept drinking it. So buy the drinks, but she would actually go to the bar and get them because I don't want to slip through people.
Sounds like it.
Well, she is, dude. She is a real MVP for sure.
Can't believe you just referred to him as KD. That's tight. Did you tell her?
Dude, I'm an OKC fan. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never do anything.
They'll leave the playoffs. We'll see.
Did you tell the red? We hit it off, but I got to go record a podcast about video games.
Sorry, but now that Jack has kind of put me on the spot, even though he didn't know it, I actually like. So are mine, but I chose to ignore them to actually do this. All right, here's the thing. So we did hit it on, right? And things were working, and there was potential for some extra action.
So some premarital coitus is what we're getting at.
Absolutely. Don't let Isis hear you, but yeah. So,
oh my.
So anyway, and it was right around like 5 a.m. or something, and she kept giving me the I'm too drunk to drive bullshit, which she probably was. I mean, if she's dead, I'll feel hella sad, probably because I
Wait,
missed my
you
chance,
packed her
but-
up drunk and sent her home?
So, well, I had
Oh,
to drive
no.
back too.
Oh, that's
I had to
bad.
drive back too. It's so. Anyway, the thing is, she
Hail
is
account.
my. Oh, hold on, dude. She is my gay friend's sister, and So anyway, no, hold on. So,
Yeah, what
dude,
does
let
that
me-
have to do with
I love the
anything?
preface.
if-
Hold
if-
on.
Let me explain.
So
dude,
she's-
let me explain.
So she's your gay friend's sister. Continue, please.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
like
she's
you're
my
the
gay-
gay one to me.
Oh, dude, no, you did not just go there. Oh, I guess I've earned that. But so the thing is, so I know I could see her again. Like, I mean, I got her number and everything, and like even he was encouraging me and shit. And then he left. So anyway, so I knew I could see her again, and she was like, "Oh, I'm too drunk, whatever." You know, and I obviously pretended I wasn't getting the hint, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you know, sucks working on Sundays and shit, but yeah, I have to work tomorrow morning, which is total bullshit." So anyway, we agreed that I'll be seeing her. Well, I guess it's tonight for me because it's fucking 10 a.m. here almost. So yeah, I mean, the moment we agreed that we'll see tonight, I figured, well, you know, I might as well record this podcast because the guys won't appreciate me dropping out. So I put bros before hoes.
So in summation, let me go ahead and clear that up for everybody. Cool Whip got a girl super drunk, sent her
No,
home on her own, sent her home on her own, despite her protest that she could not drive. He said, "Bitch, the seatbelts in your car work. Get in there." This is his friend's sister, and then
Right.
he lied to her about what he was doing anyways.
Well, dude, how big of a nerd would I be? I am a big nerd, but dude, she doesn't have to know
Okay.
that. I'd be like, oh no, sorry, I have to go.
Can you imagine how much better the next podcast would have been if you had skipped out on us to go sleep with her? That'd have been way better.
Why not? What? Well, I mean, I'm gonna do it tonight, so we can share that on
Would've
next
gave you
podcast.
10 extra points.
All right.
I mean,
You might
you
start
can-
with 10.
you can say you're gonna do it tonight, but not after I text her.
I mean, my wife is upstairs asleep, so I skipped out on that. So
Oh, Cool Whip, you're
I mean, dude, what was I
you
supposed
the
to
real
tell her?
MVP.
I mean, yeah, I'm recording a podcast, and oh, by the way, if you actually Google my name, the podcast won't show up because I'm recording it as Cool Whip. Yeah, that ought to give me some pussy. Get the fuck out of here. No,
I
I'm not
mean,
doing that.
Look, dude, you gotta keep it real. It's only a matter of time before this all catches up with you anyways. So here's how this goes. It appears you have a weakness. You've got gingivitis, if you will. So you're gonna be chasing this redhead around.
gingivitis. That's
And
good.
let's just say that this nonsense works out and you start dating her, and then you're gonna have to keep doing this over and over again. At some point, you're gonna have to
You gotta
fess up, or you're gonna have to leave the show. Which, I mean, this is like, I don't know if you know how gangs in America work, but you've already been jumped in. We'd have to jump you out, and that's not happening. So you're in for life. So hold on. So you're gonna have to explain to her what you're doing, and then at some point, when you finally have fessed up, she's gonna be like, "Wait, all those times that you passed up on this fire crotch was because you needed to go talk to some Americanos about
Fire
Batman?
crotch.
Get out of here, dude. You're gonna get blown out."
Dude.
Actually, alright. You want to know a real blow up? It's actually this happened to me almost exactly. All right, here's the thing. First of all, I'm not gonna date her, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I used to date this girl. Hold on, I used to date this girl. I used to write about MMA, mixed martial arts, and I have this podcast.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah,
Thank
Well,
you.
no, dude. A lot of people refer to that as UFC, and they have no idea what MMA is. So I just decided to clarify. Trust me, you'd be
I
shocked.
thought it stood for Mr. Miyagi's anorexia, so I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
All right. Well, if you guys are done being dicks, anyway.
Dean Ambrose. Nope.
So anyway, I used to date this girl. My podcast. I used to record at like 7:00 p.m. on Sundays. So every single time, I'd be late to pick her up, and I'd have because the podcast goes over time. Because obviously I talk a lot, and I'd have to make up
Really?
some bullshit. Yeah, and yeah, you're the one to talk, Jack. Anyway, so I have to make up some
I'm aware.
bullshit excuse. Like there are only so many flat tires, family members you have to drop by, friends in need, all that bullshit before you start running out of excuses. And then this one day, she Googled me. I don't know why she was Googling me, but she Googled me.
She was sick of your bullshit. That's why.
Yeah.
No.
Either that be
What'd
spice
she
or a
say?
secret agent.
Dude, you made it so obvious. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
my great grandfather passed away. I had to go to his
About his-
funeral.
My grandma threw out her back for the 6th time in the last 2 months. I'm sorry.
You should have just used projectile diarrhea.
Yeah.
God, dude. So when she Googled me, she actually stumbled upon a podcast, and she was like, "Oh no, that can't be him." And she called. She's like, "Dude, this is your voice." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, this is your voice." I mean,
You're like, no, it's not. It's
you
not
by
me.
your name.
Should
I was
be
like,
man, you're racist.
Yeah.
Dude, this is gonna be so much worse when she hears this is your voice on Mortal Kombat.
So I was like, "Oh yeah, well yeah, I write about this for part-time living, and I do this podcast and shit." She's like, "Well, why did you never tell me? That's kind of cool." I was like, "Oh yeah, I mean, it's cool." So I was like, "Okay, she thinks it's cool, right?" So this one Sunday she texts me. I'm like, "Oh well, I'll be done when I finish recording the podcast. I'll pick you up." And then she did the math. She's like, "You fucking asshole! Does that mean that every single time you were late, you were recording this?" I didn't actually count on her doing the math. I mean,
Dude,
and-
I don't know if you
Yeah,
know
bro.
this, but people are just as smart as you. They can see through your nonsense.
And
I mean-
women kind of do the math. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I didn't think she'd remember,
Cool,
all the
next
days.
time, Just be honest with them, man. Like,
I'm glad
I
to
told
see
my
you.
That's
girlfriend-
shitty advice, dude. That's
I'm glad to
shitty
see
advice.
you.
Oh my
learned
god,
nothing.
cool. I told my girlfriend, I was like, I'm about to do a podcast with some guys. She was like, you're a no life virgin. We smashed. She went to bed. I did the podcast. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I stopped hiding the whole. Actually, this would be a great topic. I might, you know what? Let's stop talking about it. We're gonna save that for next week. Confessions of what you do and don't hide. I'm just saying,
Do you consider podcasters to be no
keep
life virgins?
it. You gotta, dude. Cool it.
I think come to think of it, do you think I have is it a sickness? I'm a hidey. I'm always a hidey. Think about that. In real
you
life
down
and on
with
the forums.
Are you down
Yeah.
with that sickness?
Oh no!
Dude, what?
Are you? All right. Discussion for next week. Questions of panel. Podcast. Turbo versions or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh my god! The real question, let's be 100% serious here, is there's 2 members of this panel who, as far as I know, unless they either are on some other form of mind-altering substance or they just don't do it, but as far as I know, they just don't. HomeLee and Hippo, do you guys drink at all?
I used to, but I had a DUI about like a couple of years ago, and that pretty much was just like a wake up call for me. And
That's
I only
fair.
drink on special occasions, like
On your yak?
oh, what?
Never mind.
Oh my god.
Oh,
No.
You will not get away with this.
While you were plowing your rice fields, you got a
Yeah,
DUI.
wow. Yo, real rap?
Flying birds from gargling his own vomit. Just to say
I
it.
Big Shaw?
I got an RUI. I was ricing under the influence.
Ricing under influence.
Hippo, do you drink?
No, I'm a teetotaler, sir.
Okay, so then
You're straight
I
edge.
was gonna say at some point we're gonna have to do a show where we're all throwing down, but I mean we can't have HomeLee getting behind the wheel, and Hippo's love for CM Punk is too strong to drink.
Yeah.
So
CM Punk got
Maybe-
bodied in this podcast.
Oh,
No, what happened?
Maybe if we're all together at like a major, we can all get drunk and then do a podcast all in the same room.
Yeah, probably.
HomeLee,
Yeah.
HomeLee, you know you can just come crash at my house, dude.
I mean his toilet is
Could.
ready.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can sleep in it.
Oh,
I
wait.
think that's
I don't know, man.
that's what he's kind of
If
telling
Mike
you.
is drunk and then I take a dump, he might beat my ass. Actually,
It's probably true. I told you the last time you take a dump in my bathroom, I was like, bro, if you do that again, I'm gonna beat your ass.
and he was saying that when he was
Yeah.
losing 0-20 to
Dude.
me.
Can Mike actually take you on in real life? Don't you know
Probably.
martial arts and shit? Mr. Miyagi, what was it?
Mr.
I actually
Miyagi's
The
anorexia.
only
I would
thing-
actually
I-
assume, having met them both, I would assume that is a real life Tenno, and Fly would destroy HomeLee in a fight.
Yeah, I would
Damn.
channel Mike in a race though.
Probably.
What, in a race, like a foot race?
With my car.
Oh my god.
Dude, you're Asian. I would never take that race. That's terrible.
I would Tokyo Drift.
Dude, have you ever seen Tokyo Drift?
Of course I've seen Tokyo Drift.
I have not.
Oh.
I have never seen it, but I assume
also have
the
not.
Asians dominate in that movie.
That seems like a Hippo movie to me.
You watch Tokyo Drift for the
I'm a fan of
retarded
Fast and
one-liners.
Furious.
Are you?
Yeah. Fast and Furious is pretty cool.
Actually, yeah, they
love
are a
Fast
good
and Furious,
pleasure.
man.
Also, The Rock is in it, so I kind of have to like it.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
have to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
What was
fan
that
of-
movie? What was that movie with The Rock, Sean William Scott, and Christopher Walken?
The Rundown.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Rundown.
the
Oh,
Rundown.
dude, that was a great
What's it called?
movie.
The Gato. They were looking for the Gato in the
Yeah, the
Amazon.
Gato.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Dude, that was
woman's
great.
name? Rosario Dawson? Is that her name?
Christopher
Rosario Dawson?
Walken,
Yeah.
they're like, yo,
Christopher Walken.
Pilgrim, this
Dude.
whole movie, you're going to be in this beer
Yeah.
that's just sweat stained.
The Rock was like, I don't use guns, but when I do, I just
Yeah.
destroy everybody.
Can you imagine Christopher Walken being like, "Look, I don't smell what you're cooking.
Yeah.
Let's lay the smack down." You see?
Hello, I have an elbow.
Yeah.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
about to check into the SmackDown hotel.
Dude, Walken's tight. Fly, what is the time on this biatch?
We're at, what, 3:05?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot less than the previous podcast.
That's
That was
not
verging on
bad.
4 hours. You
I
don't
mean,
think I'd
we don't have to keep going. I mean, I'm done.
Well, I want one. I wanted
No,
to
good.
say.
Fly, you've been done since the 1:30 mark.
Dude, I'm so done. You guys have no idea.
Hippo,
I
do
was
you
gonna
think
mention that CM Punk did a podcast with Colt Cabana where he admitted that he had MRSA while he was in WWE, and the doctor did not treat it, and he got a full-blown staph infection.
Oh my God,
Yeah, he's
That's-
wrestling with that.
that's disgusting.
He also
Yeah.
he also said that he was promised things that he did not get, and his health and his promise. He basically was told, okay, if you lose to The Rock, apparently when The Rock came in to feud with him, they made him turn heel, even though he was outselling John Cena in merchandise, which to all you non-nerds out there is huge in business. John Cena is the #1 draw in WWE in wrestling. So CM Punk's outselling him as a good guy. Vince McMahon says, hey, The Rock's coming in. You need to feud with a bad guy. Can you go heel? And Punk is like, I don't know about that. It's Dwayne. And he's like, I'll owe you one. So he loses to The Rock, right? And then he says, okay, if you lose to Taker, I'll owe you one. At WrestleMania, and he goes, okay. Loses to him, and he goes, okay, if you lose to Brock Lesnar, I'll owe you one.
This
And
is
Punk
stupid.
Punk goes, at some point, am I going to beat someone who's, not going to be not at work on Monday? Like, can I lose to someone who will be here on a 3 to 4 month basis? And they were like, we'll get back to you. He's like, all right,
No.
done. Yeah, he quit.
Oh no, Fly. You
Hash.
should not blow it up. We're gonna give you a little business 101 here. If you check our threads, people like the wrestling talk. You
Dude,
big dummy.
people love wrestling.
Dude, nobody likes
and
wrestling.
Speaking of John Cena, have you guys seen the John Cena prank call?
Someone prank called John.
Oh my god, no! These guys were calling this lady, right? And then when she picks up the phone, they'll be like, "Are you ready?" And she'll be like, "What?" And they'll play John Cena's theme song.
Your time is up. My time is
Hold on.
now.
Let me link it to you guys. It's like the best.
Is it
prank
just
call.
the sound bites of John Cena?
It's pretty funny because
He'll brush your mouth like Colgate.
they keep calling her, right? And then she answers, "Hello, I'm watching you." Excuse me? That's exactly what the Undertaker said to John Cena.
Oh, that's right.
I'm
I
gonna
think
link it to you guys right now. Let me link it to you guys.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little rowdy. I think
I-
it might be time to wrap it
I
up.
feel like HomeLee's trying to get brownie points for next week.
I mean, he did his best. He did better than you. You can hold that.
Fuck you.
Damn.
Mike,
Anybody, I mean,
I always do better than you, Mike, especially in the casuals.
my
Not-
God.
Oh, in the casual? Dang.
In the casuals, please.
He said the
Lord of-
casual, like DR Rose.
Lord of Fly, I bid you. I bid
Guys,
your nice week.
just
I bid
watch
your
that
birthday.
prank. Just
I
watch
bid.
it.
You are the Batman version of gross. That's okay.
Duke of the Bird, I bid you. I bid you and Homestead Leon in the.
Wrap this package up.
All right. So, has been considered the following. Everybody was here. We had a good time. Just remember, Saucy Jack won. He will be hosting next week. Until next week, we'll see you guys later. All right. Take us out.
That was a sick closeout tune right there.
This will either be our best or worst episode to date. We'll see.